Welcome to Scott Stadium on the campus of the University of Virginia for today's exciting college lacrosse game between Roanoke College from Salem, Virginia, undefeated at this time in the season, and North Carolina State University, 10th ranked in the nation. I'm Bob Smith, and along with Leif Elsmo, we're here to bring you all the exciting action of today's game. Welcome, Leif.
Thank you very much, Bob. Today's game is going to be a great game. North Carolina State, even though they have 3 losses, it's very deceiving. 2 of their losses have been by only 1 goal. All 3 of the losses have been to teams that are ranked in the top 10 in Division I. I asked Larry Gross what he did to compensate for the one big loss in this year's team, and that is of Stan Cockerton, the all-time NCAA scoring leader.
Well, undoubtedly, Stan was an outstanding player, and we have missed him this year. He averaged over 4 goals a game for his 4-year career at NC State. The way we've been able to adjust to Stan's absence is just by creating a little more ball movement. I think all of our players now are not just looking for number 15 to come around the goal and get the ball and shoot. So right now, instead of having one player up in high figures, I believe from the latest ACC release, our top 3 scorers are the top 3 scorers in the Atlantic Coast Conference, John Swerdloff, Ben Lehman, and Scott Nelson. So we're going for a little more balanced scoring within the attack.
Roanoke College, 5-0 at this point in the season, has beaten a couple of Division I schools. In 1978, they won the Division II championship. An outstanding team, a hard-hitting team, and of course they feature a great goalie in John Neurohr, the All-American.
Well, they do. They have a very strong goalie, probably the best in college ball today. Paul Griffin came there in 1972 and has a small school of 1,300 student body. He's had 13 All-Americans and a very competitive team every year. I asked Paul, how do you get and recruit such great players to such a small school in Virginia?
I think one of the biggest reasons for our success over the past decade has been our ability to attract some outstanding lacrosse players from both Long Island and Baltimore, as well as some of the other areas, because I think that we've had a very competitive schedule. We play a schedule comprised of quite a few competitive Division I teams, as well as some Division III teams, which are nationally recognized as being some of the best in the nation. And I think the kids look for our small campus atmosphere and combined with a major college lacrosse schedule, and it's an outstanding combination, which has proved really to be our main attraction in terms of getting kids to come to our school and making us as consistently competitive as we've been over the past 10 years.
The Roanoke Maroon, the North Carolina State Wolfpack. 2 elements for an outstanding college lacrosse game. We think it's going to be a high-scoring game. We think it's going to be an exciting game. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with the opening face-off.
This bud's for the guys who got what it takes to shake, rattle, and keep on 'em rolling.
This bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
ESPN is your ticket to live coverage of the World Championship Tennis Finals from Dallas the week of April 27. From opening round action right through the final, you'll see an elite field headed by defending champion Jimmy Connors play for one of the most prestigious titles in tennis. See the week-long WCT Finals from Dallas live on ESPN. ESPN is your ticket to total sports. Collegiate tennis aces from LSU and Alabama serve them up Thursday.
We're ready, we're just about ready for the opening face-off. Let's run down the starting lineups now. First, the North Carolina State Wolfpack. On attack, number 11, Ben Lehman, 7 goals, 18 assists from Severna Park, Maryland. Number 12, John Swerdloff, 16 goals, 14 assists from Baltimore, Maryland. Number 21, Scott Nelson from Yorktown, New York, 22 goals and 7 assists. On midfield for North Carolina State, number 7, Ben Honorata. Number 9, Kevin Sullivan. Number 22, Walt Hine. On defense for North Carolina State, number 26, Mike Rousnobel from Ellicott City, Maryland. Number 33, Greg Franchuk from Levittown, New York. And number 36, Victor Rivera from Brentwood, New York. In the goal will be Ron Aviles, 6'3", 220 pounds, from Levittown, New York. And we noticed in the pregame warm-ups he is wearing number 34 today, not number 3. So that'll be a change. They're coached by Larry Gross, third-year head coach, with a 14-9 record over the first 2 years. And now for the starting lineup for the undefeated Roanoke Maroon. Starting on attack, number 4, Paul Goldsmith, 8 goals, 6 assists from Levittown, New York. Number 12, Bruce Pomper from Huntington, Long Island, 4 goals and 10 assists. Number 15, the key man, Sean Smith from Levittown, New York, 16 goals and 6 assists. On midfield, number 21, Steve Cromitas from Timonium, Maryland, be joined by number 33, Bill Hogan, and rounding out the first midfield, number 34, Tom Ritter from Norfolk, Virginia. On defense will be number 27, Jim Rohde from East Meadow, New York. Number 29, Graham Standish from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Number 30, George Powers from Massapequa, Long Island, completes the defense for Roanoke. And in the goal will be the outstanding goalie in the country, All-American John Neurohr from Garden City, Long Island. He has 35 saves and allowed 20 goals so far this season. Leif, it should be a very, very good lacrosse game.
Has to be a tough game. It always is. This series last year, they played to a 10-9 game, a real tough game. Roanoke, deceivingly enough, they're 5-0. They're playing Division III this year. Switched from Division II last year. North Carolina, of course, in Division I, playing a tougher schedule. They have 3 losses, but each of their losses has come to a top 10 team. The officials right now are talking to the teams. Oh, he's down at the net. As you can see, there's a hole. The officials check the nets to make sure no ball could pass through the net without staying in there to of course, show that their goal has been scored. If they find a hole, they tape it up and fix it before the game has started, and that's, of course, what they were doing. And again, just to finish off the Roanoke's team, this team has 17 new players, a young team, fairly untested with a weaker schedule, even though they're 5-0.
Paul Griffin, in his 10th year at Roanoke College, has an overall record of 63-47. And when they were in Division II, he won the Division II title as 1978. And remember, Roanoke has an enrollment of 1,250 students, and they play top-flight lacrosse. We're just about ready for the opening face-off now. Facing off for North Carolina State will be number 18. That's, let's see, Chris Astorino. And for Roanoke, number 34, and that will be Tommy Ritter. I have an illegal procedure call on the opening face-off, and the ball will go over to Roanoke.
Roanoke has a substitution in this game. Mike Seducati is playing for Bill Hogan, who was hurt. He hurt his shoulder last game. He's out for this game.
Tommy Ritter, number 34. Roanoke in white jerseys and North Carolina State in red. Looking back now, number 4, Paul Goldsmith, coming out front, trying to get open, has the ball checked away very neatly by Victor Rivera. And the ball will go out of bounds as Ronnie Aviles loses control, and North Carolina State will go back on defense.
Victor Rivera playing real good, tough defense on Paul Goldsmith as he drove the left side of the net, turned him back, and had the ball go out of bounds. Roanoke retained possession.
Bruce Pomper with the ball now, picked up quickly by Greg Franchuk. They give it off out front to Steve Cromitas. Cromitas flips across to Tommy Ritter, number 34, Tommy Ritter. He wants to fire. A nice shot, bouncing right over top of the goal. Aviles read it very nicely, but backed up back there by Bruce Pomper.
Tommy Ritter with a great move on Ben Arado from the North Carolina State team. A good move in the midfield to give a shot. Again, the AstroTurf bounced that ball about 5 yards over the goal. AstroTurf, you have to shoot low at the goalie's feet.
Cromitas gets a double team, does not dish off though, now puts it back down to the side to Paul Goldsmith. Goldsmith gets double team, and they fired back, and a nice shot once again. And Aviles being tested very, very early here in the game. Backed up nicely out there by number 7, Ben Honorata.
Goldsmith did a great job of forcing the double. He worked around to the midfielder, slid down to help cover him. Then he dished off to Stuart Cromitas, who cranked it up and fired in. And it was a great save by the North Carolina State team as they now clear the ball with possession.
Victor Rivera brings it up on the near sideline. Number 36, he has Aviles in the middle of the field, but Rivera's going to try to leg it down the far sideline and has it cleared nicely, looking for some help in the middle. Throws the ball away momentarily, backed up inside by one of the men from Roanoke. They lose it, and it goes back in. Honorata, little young man, very quick. A fast break coming in nicely, and a beautiful save in there by the goalie for Roanoke, and that's number 2 for Roanoke, John Neurohr, the All-American goalie.
Beautiful shot by Scott Nelson. He came in one-on-one with Neurohr. Neurohr showed why he was one of the best goalies ever to play the game. One-on-one, went down, didn't take the fake high, went down low and snuffed the shot. No goal.
Back over quickly to Goldsmith. Goldsmith back out front now to number 17, Rocco Guglielmo. Wait to see the call. Number 17 for Roanoke, Rocco Guglielmo. called for slashing, and we'll have the first extra man opportunity for North Carolina State. 13-10 remaining in the first quarter. No score yet. Remind you again, North Carolina State in red and the Roanoke Maroon in white.
A great save by Aviles as he brought the ball up right through the middle of the field and drew that penalty.
I want to remind you, NCAA volleyball from the Golden Dome Classic, the consolation round will be Tuesday, April the 14th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The finals will be Tuesday, April the 14th at 5:30 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Additional information will be available a little later in this broadcast.
North Carolina State sets up their extra man offense. They're in a 1-3-2, cutting across the crease, working the ball from behind.
Back out front, a nice shot taken in there, and a goal scored by number 8, Chuck Murr, an attackman, 6'4.5", 195, a junior from Benson, Maryland, and North Carolina State draws first blood with the extra man opportunity.
Chuck Muir had a great play here. Ball comes from behind. Let's take a look at it. Here it goes out front. Chuck Muir has it. He comes in, nobody in front of him, cranks it up and lets it fly. Muir, not much of a chance on that one. He went low for the shot, but the shot was just too hard, too fast, went in low, and he scores on that particular opportunity.
We also want to mention again on the NCAA volleyball from the Golden Dome Classic consolation contest, pit Rutgers Newark against Pepperdine College, and the final has UCLA versus USC. That's NCAA volleyball, April the 14th on ESPN.
North Carolina State taking a 1-0 lead off an extra man situation with a good shot from outside against All-American goalie John Neuer.
Ball back now to Ronnie Aviles. Aviles looking for an opening, trying to find a cutting midi or a cutting defenseman. Now is getting himself pinned in on the near sideline. His only pass will be way upfield to one of the attackmen, number 21, Scott Nelson for North Carolina State. Nelson has the ball checked away, picked up nicely over there by Jim Rohde.
Jim Rohde with a great move at the sideline, clearing it all by himself, all the way up to the attack half of the field. Tries to feed his attackman, Paul Goldsmith, and Goldsmith loses it. Back to NC State.
Aviles with a quick release. Now North Carolina State moving the ball back upfield. Number 17, Mark Thames, brings it up, and State will go back on offense.
North Carolina State settling it down now. They haven't had too many good shots except for the one on extra man situation. They want to work their offense, and they're going to set it up right now, working it behind.
Ball back behind now to Benny Lehman. Lehman over quickly to Johnny Swerdloff. Flag is down. It's going to be probably a hold inside. Swerdloff sees the flag, wants to go to the goal, feeds in front. Number 21, Scotty Nelson, but Swerdloff, I think, stepped in the crease. Illegal procedure. We'll see what the other penalty was. It'll be a loose ball foul. The ball will go over to North Carolina State.
Swerdloff made a great move coming up to the crease, and then, of course, fed off to Scott Nelson out front.
Coach Larry Gross trying to get the situation in hand. Larry Gross, an outstanding goalie in his college career at Towson State University.
A great goalie, and of course, he's had good success at North Carolina State in his third season.
Quitting now as Benny Lehman will put the ball in play. Benny Lehman had an All-American brother from the University of Maryland, John Lehman. John has graduated from Maryland, graduated last year. Ball back out on the side now. North Carolina State in a stack, breaks off the stack quickly. A nice shot inside by number 17, Mark Thames. And a quick feed back out front again as North Carolina State's moving the ball very briskly here. However, picked off by Matt Sutphin, a defenseman from Massapequa, New York. But the ball goes right back over to Johnny Swerdloff. Swerdloff looks inside, doesn't find an opening, fires the ball. Ball rolling back out of bounds, and it'll be backed up by North Carolina State.
A lot of good hustle, a lot of loose ball situation, and North Carolina State getting the better of it, keeping it in their half of the field. They've had a couple opportunities to get the ball on goal and haven't capitalized on them. There's the best goalie that this division has seen, Mike Neuer, who is All-American and one of the toughest goalies you'll ever find. John Neuer.
Benny Lehman comes back out front, trying to get something cranked up. The teams are all even now. The penalty is over. North Carolina State cutting down off of a 3-2-1. Young man goes to shoot his number 8, Chuck Muir. He misses the feed. He had the earlier goal. There's a push from behind. No call as the officials watch the ball roll out of bounds. It'll go back over to North Carolina State.
North Carolina State is really fielding a pretty much of a veteran team. They lost their big high-scoring attackman from last year. But we're going to take a look at this push right now as we see North Carolina State set up to take the ball. Here we go. Great check going out of bounds from the North Carolina State team. Bill Tierney came over and made a beautiful body check to get the ball out and give it back to North Carolina State.
Ball out of bounds, broken clear, and Roanoke will go back on offense as They try to get the ball up to number 26, the big defenseman from North Carolina State, and that's Mike Rusnabal.
As I tried to start to say a minute ago, Bob, these teams it could be won or lost in the midfield in this particular game. North Carolina State is fielding a veteran team with 6 midfielders returning, 6 starting midfielders, where Roanoke has lost 6 of their top midfielders, so they have young talent there. And in Lacrosse, the game is won or lost in the midfield transition game.
Bruce Pomper trying to get by Mike Rusnabal, doesn't get by, so gives it off quickly. A nice shot taken inside by number 16, and that is Mike Seducati from Elmont, New York.
Seducati with a great left-handed shot, real low, nice and hard. He missed the goal, but he would have had the left-hand corner. As it was, backed up beautifully, still Roanoke's ball.
Paul Goldsmith gets double-teamed by the goalie and by the defenseman Victor Rivera, loses the ball, and North Carolina State will go back on offense. North Carolina State likes to move the ball quickly up and down the field. They look for the quick, fast break, give the ball off to Benny Lehman. Lehman, really an outstanding attackman. He and Swerdloff, 2 of the best attackmen in the country. Quick dodge out front, and a shot taken by Dave Sweeney. Ball now back behind, feet inside of the crease, a nice shot, another good save by Johnny Newrohr, picked off neatly in there by one of the defensemen. That's Mike Rusnabal, number 29, that would be John Rodkey.
Swerdloff did a great job of feeding Nelson on the crease, and Nelson had a good shot, missed the ball flew out of his stick before he got the shot off, losing the opportunity, and now Roanoke maintains possession on their half of the field.
So you look every time they bring the ball down, Roanoke gives the ball off to Bruce Pomper. Pomper picked up every time he gets the ball also by Greg Franchuk, so at this point it's a standoff. Pomper keeps trying to take Franchuk inside, comes back with a nice roll. Franchuk pokes away though. Real good play by Greg Franchuk. Ball back out front, and we're not quite sure what Roanoke's trying to accomplish here. Looks in as far as over top of the goal. Roanoke's look like they're trying to get picks off of the crease.
They are. They're moving that a good cutting game. They're moving a man in from the midfield and picking him off the crease, and the attack's working behind looking to feed. They're not getting the good shots yet, but they will come if they maintain this good, balanced, controlled type of cutting offense.
In midfield, number 21, Steve Kromitas, number 16, Mike Seducati, number 34, Tom Ritter for Roanoke. The ball's checked away, rolling back towards the end line, picked up nicely by Victor Rivera.
Victor Rivera with a great check.
Outlet pass.
Great check to make that ball come out of the attackman's stick, and he picked it up and got the clear up for his team to get on the offensive side.
Dave Sweeney takes a long bouncer, and you don't get those kind past Johnny Newrohr, backed up nicely, however, in there by number 20, and that's Bobby Gettleman for North Carolina State. Back over quickly to Benny Lehman. Lehman's got this man beat, runs inside, fires wide of the goal to the right-hand side, and Lehman's going to be a handful all day long for number 29 for Roanoke, and that would be Graham Standish to handle.
What a great move by Lehman. He came inside with an inside roll. We're going to take a look at it here on the monitor. Here we go. He comes inside, beats his defenseman, protecting his stick all the way, goes for the left-handed shot. Newrohr knew exactly where he was, protected with his body, had the stick up, so that the only way that ball could miss him was to go next to the goal and not go in the net.
Back out front. North Carolina State on attack again. Kevin Sullivan puts the ball back to Lehman. Lehman back over to Johnny Swerdloff. Quick feed inside, and a nice check again. That time the check came off with a stick of number 19, Matt Sutphin. And Sutphin keeps the ball from heading in towards the goal, Johnny Newrohr.
Great check. You know, Bob, anytime you get a feed to the crease, that's what you have to do. The goalie should be yelling check, and there should be a lot of sticks coming down so that nobody can get a shot off. Exactly what he did there. Beautiful.
Benny Honorado wants to shoot, comes back out front. Cranks and fires, and right to the chest of Johnny Newrohr. Newrohr has at least 4 saves, I know, already in this game with only 7:28 remaining in the first quarter.
4 excellent saves. You can't just crank up and throw it at Newrohr. You have to get some tricky off-balance shots. It's going to take some off-balance, some good passing, good stick work. Here's the save coming up right now as they move into position. A good roll dodge, reverse roll dodge, and he's coming back. We'll pick that up a little bit later, but make no mistake about it, John Newrohr is making some excellent saves already, 4 or 5, to keep his team in the game.
Walt Hine with the ball, midfield of Honorata, 7, Sullivan 9, and Hine 22 for North Carolina State. Back over to Sullivan. Sullivan trying to roll dodge, comes back in, comes clean, wants to shoot, and a nice shot, a beautiful shot, and just wide of Johnny Newrohr's left leg, and North Carolina State has their second goal with 7:10 remaining in the first quarter. North Carolina State now leads Roanoke 2-0.
Kevin Sullivan with a great move on Jim Hetherington. Watch him come in here. He makes a little fake, a little nifty move inside, fakes the inside roll, and the defensive man falls down. He's wide open, takes a left-handed shot. Actually, he was off balance, but he saw that it was screened for Newrohr, so he took the shot that went to the far pipe and put one in to make it 2-0 North Carolina State. Roanoke's got to get possession and hold it down their offensive half of the field to try to get some good shots to get back in this game with 7:10 remaining in the first quarter. Again, North Carolina State 2, Roanoke nothing.
A few people we just saw getting some of the Nice afternoon sun here at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the campus of the University of Virginia.
It's a beautiful day.
As
Great
once
day for
again,
lacrosse.
North Carolina State draws the face-off out towards their own goal. Picked up nicely inside by number 18 for North Carolina State, and that's Chris Astorino, who does all the face-off chores for the Wolfpack. Benny Honorado is 5'6", 150 pounds. A lot of offensive talent for North Carolina State. Brings the ball down. Once again, Benny Lehman controls. Back inside towards the crease, and a nice shot. This on a beautiful bounce by Walter Hine. And North Carolina State now moves out to a 3-0 lead with 6:45 remaining in the first quarter.
Actually, it was Jack O'Brien who came in. Let's take a look at it. Jack O'Brien on the crease as the ball moves down. We'll see it right here. Takes it, feeds it into the crease. This is a beautiful slap shot. He just whips it in, slaps it off like a baseball bat would. He hardly ever catches the ball. It's a quick stick move in lacrosse. Puts it in the goal. New Roar had no chance to react. 3-0 North Carolina State. Roanoke has to get possession of the ball and start slowing things down.
Coming off the face-off, we'll see who gains possession. The ball raked back again by Astorino. He falls down on it now. Still no possession. Then picked up neatly off the AstroTurf by number 18 for Roanoke, and that's Doug McKenzie. Excuse me, that's number 16. And that would be Mike Sedadicati. Back to Bruce Pomper, and the contest continues. Bruce Pomper versus Greg Franchuk. So far, it's a draw. Now Pomper picks up the double team, looks for an opening, doesn't find it, as Rivera slides back on him again.
Rivera really playing a pressure defense.
Excuse me, that's Greg Franchuk at the moment.
33, Greg Franchuk, you're right. All-American
goalie. Back inside, nice feed into the crease and towards Sean Smith, and Smith is hammered as he goes for the ball. And it'll roll out of bounds. We can see what they call, and they call North Carolina State possession. Greg, so far at this point in the game, Leaf, Roanoke not able to get their offense on track. Basically an attack-oriented offense. Attackmen take the ball behind, look for cutters, try to feed the crease as the crease attackman sets up picks and rolls off the picks.
That's what they're trying to work, and they aren't being very successful so far. They're going to have to get some better picks coming from the midfield to get some better shots. The shots haven't been, they've had 1 or 2 shots on goal, and that's not enough, especially when you're behind 3-0.
Ronnie Aviles now twirling his stick as he brings it up close to the midfield line. Once a goalie gets pinned up near the midfield line, it's in serious
Look
trouble.
how they're giving him the open, Bob. They want him to take it across the midfield line. They're giving him that opportunity, but he doesn't want to take it. It's a deep drop back ride. Look at the deep drop. He's close to the midfield line, but he won't take that opportunity. He hits his open man, the midfielder, and here's a fast break.
Chuck Muir brings it down, looks inside, fires, and Muir with another save, kicks the ball out to the left side. And Roanoke tries to gain control. If you lose the ball down there on the left-hand side, you're in serious trouble. Back out now. Johnny Swerdloff feeds way out front. And a long shot, taking a nice score inside by Bill Tierney. On a good feed from Johnny Swerdloff. And New Roar now has given up his 4th goal of this quarter. Roanoke now trailing 4-0 to North Carolina State. 5:22 remaining in the first quarter.
Let's take a look at Bill Tierney as he gets the ball out in front. Look, no defenseman on him at all. He comes out. Here's the slide defenseman, number 19. But Tierney winds up, cranks it. New Roar looks like he had a good eye on it, but it was a bounce shot just a little bit to his left. He extended himself to his left, couldn't quite pick it up. There's the 4th goal of the game, and Roanoke better start getting it together and controlling the ball if they hope to stay in this game.
That Roanoke takes a timeout, trailing 4-0, 5:22 remaining in the first quarter. I want to also mention, Leaf, that neither of these teams play on artificial surface at home in the regular season.
That's got to be a transition for him, and you know, normally under general circumstances, the faster team's going to win. The guys with the better shots. I don't think they're probably pretty even up if they don't play during the regular season. Although North Carolina State plays more of a Division I schedule, so they're playing on AstroTurf more often than Roanoke is. They're probably a little more advanced, a little more secure in what they're doing out there.
I want to mention this Division I, II, III setup in lacrosse. It doesn't hold the significance in lacrosse that it might say in football or basketball. Many Division II and III teams. Earlier, we talked to Coach Paul Griffin about the significance of a timeout. What do you say to your team when you call a timeout? Maybe things aren't going your way. Here's what he had to say.
The big thing in terms of timeouts when things aren't going well for you are to help the team gain their poise, regain their composure, and get back to your game plan of, in our particular cases today, running our offense and our tempo. We can't let the pace of the game get out of our control.
We'll see if the timeout called by Coach Paul Griffin bears fruit.
You heard it from Paul Griffin. He has to change the tempo. The tempo was all North Carolina State. It's all transition. It's all loose ball, and they're losing the battle on the ground balls in transition game. You've got to slow it down.
Astorino once again rakes the ball out towards his own goal. Controlled in there by Greg Franchuk, and Bruce Pomper is leveled by Mike Rosenthal, and that'll be a moving pick call. The ball will go back over to Roanoke College.
The ball was loose from Rosenthal. Made that check. It was a good check, but the ball was loose, and Possession goes back to Roanoke. Now Roanoke will have a chance after the timeout to get back into their game plan.
Bruce Pomper now picked up again by Victor Rivera. Nice feed quickly inside. Number 16, Sedidakati. Sedidakati has the ball checked away as he goes in for a shot, but it's called a shot, and the ball will be backed up by Bruce Pomper.
Sedidakati with an excellent cut down to the goalie's right, had a good shot, and then fouled it up and watched the ball go out of bounds, fouled it up so that Roanoke retained possession, which is very important.
Coach Paul Griffin watching his Chargers go on attack here. Bruce Pomper comes back out front, this time picked up by Franchuk, I believe. And he gets inside. Franchuk is wide open, wants to shoot, goes in and fires. And a nice save by Aviles. A point-blank shot, and Aviles chucks it out of the back of the goal.
Bruce Pomper came in one-on-one, and it looked like he had a good chance to make a goal. He elected to go high with the goalie standing up, and that may have been the wrong move. Here it is, one-on-one. It sticks high. He should have probably gone low. Look at this. He goes high. The goalie just stands up, deflects it, and takes it right out of bounds. Now the ball going over to North Carolina State. Roanoke with an excellent chance to get a goal that was well needed after that timeout by Paul Griffin.
Aviles, we'll see if they try to trap Aviles near the midfield line again. Roanoke right now back in a deep zone ride near the midfield line as Aviles brings it up, twirls the stick.
Real deep zone, real deep drop. They want Aviles to take this ball across the midfield stripe, hoping they could probably collapse on him then, get the ball back, and then race back in with the transition game to an open net.
To say Aviles at 6'2", 220, manages to get the ball back up to Franchuk. Franchuk still has not really gotten the ball cleared. They throw it quickly into number 8, that's Chuck Muir, and he settles it down. Chuck Muir is listed here at 6'4", 195, but we must have missed a number because that young man, number 8, is not 6'4", 195.
No, sir, not at all. But there's Bill Tierney getting a shot off and the ball going out of bounds. Good hustle by North Carolina State. North Carolina State, Bob Gottleman, who chased the ball out of bounds, and he'll retain possession, as you see on your screen. North Carolina State ball in their half of the field.
Winning now as the ball is being brought in from behind on the far side by number 20, that's Bobby Gettleman. Gettleman gives it off to Johnny Swerdloff. Swerdloff forcing out towards the front, looking for a double team, has not drawn the double team. Swerdloff very patient. Now throws back across the crease. The ball knocked down by Johnny Neuer. Neuer has a fast break. Look out. Ooh. They could have cleaned that. The young defenseman, number 23.
Neuer with a great save, and he tried to hit Hetherington. And that was a risky pass, but something that a good goalie will do. He'll try to pinpoint that pass to get the transition game going. Not quite what Roanoke wants to get into. And here you see him bring it back to set it up with the goalie. Now Neuer is going to take his time and set up a clear. They don't want to run and go with North Carolina State.
Roanoke holds the ball while they substitute on the fly. Jim Hetherington was the young man playing midfield defense who came very nearly into a collision with one of the midfielders for North Carolina State. Now they get it up to George Powers, and Powers will clear the ball easily over the midfield line. Roanoke not having much trouble clearing the ball, which is a good sign of a well-drilled team.
It is. Patience in clearing the ball is all important, and you can't underestimate clearing. It's been proven that if you can clear 75% of your clears, you'll win just about all your games. If
nice
you don't
feed
clear
inside.
that well, you won't.
That time they fed Sean Smith from behind the goal. Pomper got the feed off, and Aviles with a kind of a lofting pass out has the ball taken away, put back into play now by Carl Wist for Roanoke College, and Wist drives down, has an opening, wants to go in and shoot, turns, comes back left-handed, fires. Another nice save by Aviles. Aviles has been a brick wall so far with 2:34 remaining in the first quarter.
He's making great saves, but he's throwing the ball away. He's just throwing it upfield and not to anybody in particular.
Fast break coming down, 4-on-3, looks inside. Swerdloff wants to shoot, has the ball checked away at the last minute on a good play by Jim Rohde, the defenseman for Roanoke College.
Jim Rohde with a great
out of
check.
bounds, and we see it's backed up there.
Fantastic check by Jim Rohde. Saved a shot. Here we go. We're going to take a look at it. Coming down to one-on-one. We just saw the tail end of it there as Jim Rohde came down with a check from behind as the man was shooting. The North Carolina State player was shooting at John Neuer. Ball goes out of bounds. Roanoke retains possession, and they attempt to clear to bring it back to their offensive side of the field.
2:21 remaining in the first quarter. North Carolina State 4, Roanoke 0. North Carolina State in red, Roanoke in white as the ball goes out of bounds on a long clearing pass intended for Willie Benazzi, a midfielder from Charlottesville, Virginia.
Graham Standish just threw it out of bounds. The defenseman has a good move, good speed. He came up in excellent stick work. He saw the midfielder on the far side of the field and threw it over top of his head. Ball changes possession to North Carolina State.
Number 25, Dave Sweeney brings it in, neatly sidestepping the defender for Roanoke. They put the ball back behind again to John Swerdloff. Excuse me, to Benny Lehman. Lehman tries to feed all the way across the goal. The ball knocked down.
Doug McKenzie blocked that down. A beautiful play by McKenzie for Roanoke. It's at midfield now, and they're scrapping for it.
Ball goes out of bounds. We'll see who gets possession. It's going to go back over to North Carolina State. Ball rolling off one of the Roanoke players' legs or stick. and North Carolina State will go back on offense.
A minute and
John
46 seconds
Poggio.
left, Bob, in the first quarter.
Midfielders, number 4, John Poggio, number 25, Dave Sweeney, and number 29, John Rodkey from North Carolina State. Sweeney brings it in, looks for the pick coming up. Now feeds in the crease, and a nice save by Neurohr on a beautiful shot inside taken by Scott Nelson, and Neurohr was right there. This young man has outstanding reflexes.
He really does. Beautiful. It was a beautiful feed to the crease and a beautiful shot, but Neurohr knew exactly where to be with his body and blocked it with his chest.
Now Roanoke bringing it up a 2-on-1 on the near side of the field. 1:17 remaining here in the first quarter.
Roanoke would try to bring it up a little faster now, Bob. Since they only have a minute left, they should try to push it upfield, get it in their half of the field to work for one last shot before the quarter.
Putting now as Neurohr brings it up. He has Graham Standish and George Powers with him. Now they give it over to Powers. Powers not willing to try to outrun the midfielder from North Carolina State. They quickly move the ball across field to Jim Rohde. Rohde's got a 2-on-1 on the far side, but doesn't see it. And now gets it back over to Powers. Powers has one more pass to go. He steps around a defender for Roanoke, and Roanoke, from North Carolina State, and Roanoke has the ball cleared. The clock is on the field, so it is less than a minute.
Excellent clear.
Brad
About 30
Spetto
seconds
brings it
left.
in.
They're looking for one good last shot, Roanoke is, before the end of the first quarter with about 30 seconds remaining.
Billy Benazzi and Brad Speno, and a nice shot taken inside, but once again snuffed by Aviles. Aviles has the ball knocked down as he goes to get it out quickly, and Aviles is going to have to work more with his defenseman to clear the ball. So we're running out of time.
Sean Smith took that shot from Roanoke. It was a good move, a good cut, and he got the feed, but then he didn't give a good shot, and against Aviles, you have to shoot better than that.
Sweeney fires once again. No backup behind the goal as both Lehman and Sverdlov had cut towards the pipe. Shot goes over the goal, and Roanoke will get the ball back.
Well, the North Carolina State was looking to get a good shot off. Everybody was converging on the goal because there's only 14 seconds left, so you don't have your normal backups. Roanoke has the ball now. I'm sure they'll just kind of sit on it, not to risk another goal because they don't have time to bring it
clearing
up.
pass up to Graham Standish. Quickly over to Rohde. Rohde gets across the midfield line. 6 seconds showing on the clock. And a long shot taken, picked up nicely by Aviles as he twirls the stick, and he handles that stick like an attackman.
Really
and that's
does.
the end of the first quarter with the score. North Carolina State 4, Roanoke nothing. We'll be back in a moment.
What will happen to interest rates this year? How will Washington and international events affect your pocketbook? Will we have wage price controls? How can you profit in a recession? Should you buy real estate or other investments now or wait? Is gold a good investment? What's ahead for mortgage rates? Have your pencil and paper ready to write down this address. In one recent Kiplinger Washington letter, subscribers read the answers to these and many more basic questions. Questions that will affect your pocketbook in the months ahead. Every week you can get up to the minute straight answers to the most important questions in the day's economic pictures. Answers based on the best information available. Kiplinger editors talk to leaders of business, banking, retailing, and government. They ask the questions you want answers to, then they put their findings in clear, concise, no-nonsense terms. Nobody has the time personally to research, read, and digest all the material necessary to cope with today's complex, ever-changing scene. That's why the smart people, the decision makers, count on the Kiplinger Washington letter. Today, more than ever, you need this letter to move ahead and profit. That's why you should try, as an introductory offer, the Kiplinger letter for 5-month, 21 weekly issues for only $10. And get free this special report, The 1980s, A Fresh Look. What to expect, how to plan, how to make some money out of them. It's yours free when you try the Washington letter for 5 months, 21 weekly issues. And that's not all. When you send your check today, you also get this analytical report on how to deal with inflation, owning your own business, real estate, should you buy gold, gems, bonds, a checklist of things to look for in stocks, sound, down-to-earth judgment and advice. Most readers say they can't do without it, so don't miss out. Send your $10 to Kiplinger, Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut, 06062. If you don't make or save many times the $10, you keep these two valuable reports, the 1980s, A Fresh Look, and How to Deal with Inflation, and we'll refund the unused portion of your subscription. Isn't that fair enough? This could be the wisest investment you've ever made, so take advantage today by sending $10 to Kiplinger, Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut, 06062.
Earlier today, Leaf had a chance to talk to head coach Larry Gross of North Carolina State and ask him what he thought were the keys to today's game. Here's what he had to say.
Well, Roanoke is a very young team. I think one of the keys to today's ball game is getting our offense moving. A lot of teams over the past 3 or 4 games have gone to deep zone rides, They don't want to give NC State the upset situation. So today we really want to get the increased ball movement out there and get some upset situations.
Bob Smith along with Leif Elsmo. We're about to start the second quarter. Roanoke trailing North Carolina State 4-0, and we see Astorino get another face-off for North Carolina State, and he looks like a pretty proficient face-off specialist for North Carolina State.
He is. He's doing a good job. And North Carolina State, per Coach Larry Gross's comments, is a team-oriented team. Last year they had one big man, Stan Cockerton, who was the most prolific scorer in the NCAA history. They've lost him, and now they have a lot of good depth, and they're balancing the scoring and the attack in the midfields.
Putting now as North Carolina State will try to put the ball on play and get it cleared. Greg Franchuk, number 33, standing on the far side at Sonny Scott Stadium here in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Vilas is the general on this clear, Bob, and all clear. Just a 3 across. The goalie will bring it up, and he'll make it happen. He'll look for the first pass, and after the first pass, everybody else reacts to that.
Pass got by the defenseman for Roanoke, picked up nicely by Johnny Swerdloff, but he has it checked as Jim Rohde recovers. And the defense here for Roanoke is very impressive. They clear the ball well, and they play very well behind the goal.
They are. Now they just need to get some shots on goal, and they'll be right back into this ball game.
Paul Goldsmith being chased down the far sideline. Number 4 looking inside for a quick backside
far side, 21
cut.
is wide open.
Sean Smith, nice shot by Smith, picked off once again by Aviles, and it's 6'3", 220. He's a very, very fine shot stopper, but as you mentioned earlier, seems to be a little weak out of the goal. Benny Honorado bringing it down now. Honorado looks inside, doesn't find anybody picking up, wants to shoot. Now pulls it out and figures that he'll wait for a little bit of help. Nice cut inside by Swerdloff. The ball knocked down by a defender. Now quick feed inside to number 21, Scotty Nelson, and North Carolina State moving the ball, but the shot's not getting all the way to the goal.
It's not. Great defense on the part of Roanoke. They're playing heads up. They're playing good position. They're not gambling. They're not sacrificing their position.
Nice save by Noura. A beautiful save as Lehman came up in the air and shot the ball all in one motion. Plus Noura's going to run it out, and Roanoke should gain possession of the ball. Now they gave it to number 9.
Ben Lehman had a great shot. Let's see John Noura, the All-American goalie, make a beautiful save here. Look at Lehman up in the air. Noura goes up, follows the ball, didn't take the fake high, and came right with the stick, hit the stick on the ball, made a beautiful save, as good a save as you ever see.
The ruling was that number 9, Kevin Sullivan, actually was closer to the point where the ball went out of bounds when it went out of bounds, and therefore North Carolina State retains possession. Being brought in by Bobby Gettleman for North Carolina State. Gettleman trying to get past George Powers, now decides to take Powers around behind the goal. Didn't see the backside feed, now gets it over to Benny Lehman. Lehman puts it back out front to Mark Thames. And Thames quickly over to Chuck Muir.
Setting up a play here, a midfield play. It's a pick away.
Pick away, right. You played lacrosse too, right, Leif?
You bet. Standard play where the one midfielder will throw it to one side, then he'll go and pick for the other midfielder trying to pick off his defenseman, and he'll get the feed coming off the pick.
Number 23, Billy Tierney, trying to get inside for a shot. It's going to be double team. Now feeds into the crease, and the ball checked away nicely by the alert defense for Roanoke College. Excuse me, go ahead, Rudy.
Another basic midfield play. Tierney working one-on-one in front of the goal. He's looking for a slide from the crease. As soon as the slide comes, he has one or two options. He'll either shoot if his man falls down or relieves him, or he'll wait for the slide to come from the crease and feed the guy in the crease for his shot.
Lehman now with the ball being picked up back there by Graham Standish. Decides to give it off to Bobby Gettleman. Gettleman trying to go against George Powers. Will come back out front. Very patient now, North Carolina State. Now a weak shot. When I say weak against John Noura, it's a weak from 20 yards away. Noura kicks it back out front, and it's controlled out there momentarily by number 16, and that is Sedidicati. Now a fast break coming down, set up as they come back down, looking inside is Sean Smith. Smith looks quickly across to Pomper, instead shoots the ball instead of making the fast break complete by making the pass to Pomper. But Roanoke does manage to get the ball back. Paul Goldsmith recontrols.
Jim Rohde started on his defensive end of the field with a beautiful pickoff of a feed across the goal. Went right in front of Noura, picked it up, and started the fast break.
Goldsmith tries to whack it into the goal. Vilas picks it up, twirls his stick around, and now they're on a fast break going the other way. Looking inside, but the fast break is killed effectively by Sedidicati getting back inside.
Sedidicati did the right thing. He dropped right into the hole to meet the offensive player midway down. You don't want to chase him. You want to drop into the hole and wait for him to come to you.
Muir wants to shoot. He cranks and fires a shot. And once again, we look up and Johnny Noura has backed up the shot, and that's the same thing as getting a ground ball and going the other way.
Excellent hustle.
Outstanding goal play by Johnny Noura and hustle.
Excellent hustle by Johnny Noura. Here are the stats for the first quarter. As you can see, as we know, the score is 4-0 The shots fairly even, 16-11. North Carolina State really taking advantage of their shots. Roanoke not taking good shots. Saves all even, 7-7. Face-offs pretty even too at 3-2. Shooting efficiency, of course, Roanoke hasn't put one in the nets yet, and that's been their problem.
Putting now for long clearing pass over the far side. Nice pass over to Graham Standish. Standish drops back in looking for some help. The attack sort of standing still for Roanoke, so Standish has to give it back off to a midfielder, number 17, Rocco Guglielmo. Love that name, Rocco Guglielmo.
Sounds like an Indian chief.
Putting back out front now with Carl Wist.
Of course, the Indians started this game, Bob. Maybe.
That's right. Ball now back behind. Quick feed inside. A nice shot. It bounces over top of the goal. Sean Smith, who we are told is one of the best crease attackmen in the country, made a nice move off the crease. But once again, not being used to playing on AstroTurf, bounced the ball a little too hard.
High bounce shot
at the net.
He is an excellent ball player. He's got 22 points for Roanoke team, 49 shots to date coming into this game with 16 goals and 6 assists.
Pomfret out once again. Beats his man as his man falls down, looks back in front, tries to get it to Smith and throws it right by him. And Smith was moving on a pick. Man offsides. We'll see if it's a push or an offside call.
Should be a push on George Powers. Should be a push on George Powers, and that's what
call goes against Roanoke,
that's
and
what
North Carolina State will gain possession.
On that last offensive
now
series,
the defensive midfield coming in for Roanoke. Once again, 6 long sticks in the game. 18, Doug McKenzie. 19, Matt Sutphin. And 23, Jim Hetherington. When we get a break, Leaf, we're going to talk about the idea of using 6 long sticks to play defensive midfield rather than using short midfield sticks.
Absolutely. So right now you've got 6 defensemen on the field playing midfielders and attackmen. 6 long sticks.
The only way to beat that is to cut against it. You can't run against it. You can't rotate. But you have to cut against it. Nice feed inside. Good control by Scotty Nelson.
Excellent.
But Nelson, in his haste to get away from the 2 men hounding him, throws the ball away.
He threw it to Ben Lehman. Ben Lehman wasn't expecting it. He was being hounded pretty well over there by Graham Standish, and the ball goes out of bounds over to Roanoke.
A lot of coaches don't like the idea of using 6 long sticks. They think it slows down the game and kills the transition game, which can be very exciting. There is legislation resting with the USILA Rules Committee that would be a recommendation to the NCAA to limit the number of long sticks, longer than 46 inches, that could be in the game at any one time for a team, and that would be limited to 3. It remains to be seen if at the next rules meeting next year, if they pass that legislation.
These 2 teams are well matched for that very strategy. You've got a 1 run and gun team, North Carolina State, and you've got 1 team that wants to settle down, Roanoke. Roanoke wants to use the long sticks because they want to settle things down. NC State doesn't want to use the long sticks because they want the transition game. They want to run and gun.
Paul Goldsmith now trying to bring the ball back out front. Looks for some help, gets the double team. Pomper, however, is not in a position to shoot, so he'll just pull back out. They'll reload the offense and start over. Carl Wist on a sweep right, roses it off nicely to Rocco Guglielmo. Guglielmo comes back left.
He should shoot right
nice
there. Yes,
shot, a beautiful goal, good bounce goal, good patience by Guglielmo, and Roanoke College has their first goal of the game. 9:19 left in the half. They now trail North Carolina State 4-1.
All right, excellent, Pat. Patient offense. Guillermo takes it off the top, right up in front of the goalie. A little rosy. Here he is working one-on-one with his defensive midi. Now he's all alone. He's looking to beat him here, and if he gets a slide from the crease, he'll feed it off to a creaseman too. You see him driving in with a power move, protecting the stick out in front of him, pulling it back, keeping his eye on the crease. So this is the rosy move still. All right, we can come back to that possibly later, but it was a great, just a typical rosy move out in front where one man flips it to the other guy, and then he just drives his man, looks for the shot. If he's doubled from the crease, he'll pass it off, but if he gets the shot like Guillermo did, he'll take it, and they get their first goal of the game for Roanoke.
Facing off for Roanoke, Tommy Ritter, and he gets the pass right back from Astorino, as Astorino had controlled the face-off, but it's lost again. And North Carolina State has a fast break coming down, quickly looking over to number 20, back over to Benny Lehman. Lehman wants to fire and scores, and a picture-perfect fast break. Set up by the ball being brought down and dished off nicely to number 20, Bobby Gettleman.
Let's take a look at it. It comes down, picture-perfect fast break. Down to Gettleman, over here, over to Lehman, the far side. Roar is way offsides. He can't make that slide from 6 feet across the face of the goal. Ben Lehman had an easy pick, just took the little quick stick, dumped it into the net for the 5th goal. Unfortunate because Roanoke was getting some momentum, 5-1 with 9:04 left in the 2nd quarter.
North Carolina State on top, and Astorino. First goal by Roanoke, as we see again.
Here we go. Here's the first goal by Roanoke. A nice move inside, reverse roll, and look at the screen. A beautiful screen by number 20 from the Roanoke team. That was Jim Sullivan on the crease. He jumped up, screened the goalie's vision, and the shot went right underneath his legs for a nice bounce shot high up into the net off the AstroTurf. Great execution.
Bobby Gettleman backs up the shot by North Carolina State, and they'll put it back in play on the end line. Gettleman now comes out against George Powers, number 30 for Roanoke College. Quick feed inside, and another quick shot is number 21, for North Carolina State. Scott Nelson just standing just off the crease. And a quick feed, no slide, and that soon after Roanoke scores, North Carolina State gets the ball back, scores. They're now leading
Scores
6-1.
twice. Here's Scott Nelson. You'll see him right off the crease. His defensive man turned his back, didn't see him. You get a quick feed, a quick shot. New Roar has no chance of making a reaction to that. He's really getting pelted with some uneven shots, some shots that are really unfair to him, to his ability. The defense has to tighten up and keep those shots coming from off the crease.
8:46 remaining in the first half. North Carolina State 6, Roanoke 1. Now an illegal procedure call going against Roanoke, and Astorino will put the ball in play for North Carolina State. Paul Goldsmith will bring it in. He wants to shoot. They're testing Neuer pretty well. Quick feed over to the side, over to Scotty Nelson. He loses control, and Powers, the big defenseman, picks it up. And a nice outlet pass going up to Carl Wist, and Wist will bring it down and clear the ball in to the attack end of the field for Roanoke. Putting it back now over to Bruce Pomper. Pomper seems to be the trigger man for the offense. Nice feed inside, a beautiful shot, backhanded shot by Sean Smith, backed up by Pomper.
Great shot by Sean Smith, fed by Bruce Pomper behind the back, and if that was on goal, that certainly would have gone in the nets. Let's take a look at it. Here it comes. You'll see the feed from Pomper. There's Smith coming off the crease with a nice pick. He reverses around, backhand shot, missed the net. If that ball was 6 feet to the left, that would have been a goal for sure.
Running now as Pomper brings it back in. They put it back out to Carl Wist. Roanoke in a 2-3-1 offense. Now they break up off the crease. They go down and set a pick for another midfielder to come back out front. Sean Smith comes out, the attackman, and fires a nice bouncer and scores! That one just beat Aviles to the left-hand side, and Roanoke has their second goal of the game, now trailing 6-2, 7:58 remaining here in the second quarter.
Sean Smith with a nice shot. Sean Smith with a nice shot. And let's watch number 20, Jim Sullivan, right here on the crease. Watch the screen. Watch the screen. Here comes Sean Smith. He's looking. Sullivan gets in position. Sean Smith, number 20, screens it, and the goalie couldn't see it as Aviles was partially blocked for that shot, and it gives Roanoke their second goal of the game, 6-2. This is definitely a ball game with 7:58 left in the second quarter.
Have to be very, very complimentary to Roanoke on the patience they have in moving the ball when they have it down on attack.
That's their game plan, and they're starting to work it here in the second quarter.
Tommy Ritter goes to get the face-off. It's illegal procedure against North Carolina State, so they will get the ball, even though they had it going down a fast break. The referee must make the call and effectively kills the fast break, but Roanoke does have possession.
Well, what Roanoke wants to do now is take their time, set their patterned offense. They want to slow things down to their tempo. They can't run and gun with North Carolina State. They want to get a good shot. Here's Paul Griffith. He's a little bit happy with that last goal, and now he wants to see him settle it down, work a play, and get a good shot on goal.
You notice Sean Smith is all over the front of the goal setting picks for his midfielders. He rolls out, comes off a pick for himself. The flag is down. It's going to be a delayed call. The ball checked away, and Roanoke will have their first extra man opportunity.
Paul Goldsmith looked really good with ball control. They're working hard on his defenseman. He was double-teamed, maintained possession of the ball, and drew a foul. So that now Roanoke will be up for 1 minute because of a slash. There'll be 1 minute at an extra man advantage. We're going to take a look at that slash right now. Here's Paul Goldsmith working his man, and he's driving into the goal, protecting the stick beautifully. Slashing penalty was right there as the hit came across his body with no protection whatsoever.
Back out front now. Over quickly to Stu Krumidis. Back over to Goldsmith, and Roanoke in a 3-2-1. Back out front to Krumidis. Now they slide down into 2-3-1. The ball gets by number 16.
Seto Ducati missed that ball.
Seto Ducati, and I know he wishes he had that one back.
Seto Ducati was, and that's the danger of extra man. What happens is you start cheating inside, and you look for that pass on the outside. You have to protect the ball, so you throw it on the outside of your players, working the perimeter, but you start cheating in because you want to get toward the goal. The ball went out of bounds, and unfortunately, now it's North Carolina State's ball. But since they're in an extra man situation, Bob, watch how they'll press the man with the ball. Everybody will have a man, they'll press the man with the ball.
Double teaming the ball in the far corner, they give it up to Aviles. Now Aviles and Goldsmith in a foot race towards the midfield line, and a nice check thrown in on Benny Lehman as Aviles tried to get the ball to him. And the ball out of bounds. You know, this Roanoke College team has a history of having great goalies. Prior to New Roar, there was a young man named Bill Baroza, who was an All-American at Roanoke College and U.S. Club Player of the Year 2 years ago. And Bill Baroza, still one of the outstanding goalies in the country, playing club ball right now. Pomper brings it out and gives it off quickly to Stu Krumidis. As they're still extra, the ball was never in possession of North Carolina State in the attack box. So they have to run out the entire penalty now. Goldsmith trying to drive inside, looking for an opening. Nice feed inside to Smith, and he dumps it off. What a real nice shot. Smith just dropped the stick down and rolled it right by Aviles. And with 6:43 remaining in the first half, North Carolina State now only leads by 3. North Carolina State 6, Roanoke 3.
Beautiful play. Goldsmith sees Smith, sees Smith on the crease. Goldsmith feeds in. Crease takes the ball. He's double teamed. He fakes high. He goes low. It's a little trickler right inside. No contest for Aviles. A beautiful shot. Well-tempered rather. He came in, faked high again. Beautiful body control when he was on the crease. The double team didn't affect him whatsoever. Aviles had no chance whatsoever. 6-3. We are in a ball game with 6:43 left in the second quarter.
Facing off once again was Astorino for North Carolina State. He rakes the ball back towards his own goal. Overrun there momentarily by Jimmy Sullivan. And we're going to have a push call coming up, and we'll see which way that goes. Now we have a call at number 33 red, which would be the defenseman Greg Franchuk over top.
He released early, it was the call. He released early, and the ball will go to Roanoke. You can't release from the midfield line if you're anything else but a midfielder until possession has been, until the referee signals possession by either team. Then you are released from the attack or defense side of the field.
Pomper comes back inside, loses man momentarily, feeds into the crease to Smith, and Smith gets off another loose shot, but a nice save that time by Aviles. Aviles momentarily lost sight of the ball. We have a couple of people laying in the crease, and that's going to be an illegal for touching of the ball, and the ball will go back over to Roanoke College. Obviously, that time Aviles touched the ball with his hand.
Sean Smith with the magic stick. Watch how they feed in here, push it right into Sean Smith. He gets the feed, he gets a shot off even. He's triple teamed. The ball goes into the crease. Amazing stick work by Sean Smith. And here you see the pile up, and North Carolina State, feeling threatened, just smothers the ball. They touch it. They want to stop anybody from getting a garbage goal at that situation.
Back out front now to Carl Wist. Wist being played tough by Kevin Sullivan, number 9.
We're still in an extra man situation.
Roanoke looking back inside, puts it now back to Goldsmith. Goldsmith's going to force out front to draw the double team. Another flag is down, and he has the ball checked away. And as it was almost checked into the goal on a real nice check by Victor Rivera. But we have a slashing call coming up, and Roanoke will continue to be extra.
Yeah, that'll be the first extra man situation. Here we go. Just take a look at it. Here's Rivera working him hard as Goldsmith comes around the goal. He's pushing for the right side, really being worked hard by Rivera. There's the slashing call. There's the holding call, rather. And what a great shot by Goldsmith, who came underneath his legs and almost got a goal if it wasn't that it hit the pipe. It was a pipe shot. Rivera's had no chance to get it. Rivera working him hard. Goldsmith, excellent body control, beautiful shot.
5:58 remaining in the first half. North Carolina State leading Roanoke College 6-3. North Carolina State in red, Roanoke College in white. Ball back out front now as North Carolina State drops down into a 1-4-1. They put the ball back behind to Pomper. Back out front, they want to give the shot out there to Goldsmith. He wants to take it right-handed, but now he has different views as he's being checked very well by the defenseman for North Carolina State, number 27, Stan Morris. Nice shot taken, a nice save by Aviles, and a good cranker out there by Stu Kromitas. Another shot taken wide of the goal on the right-hand side as they're pelting the goal. Aviles doing a very, very good job in the nets.
Kromitas and Goldsmith out from the corners. That's a good shot, 16 yards off the crease, and if you can crank it up with no defenseman, he's pushing it right in. Aviles is looking really tough in the goal. Where he looks weak is out of the goal. He's not making very good passes, but he's everything you want to see in a goalie inside the nets.
Wist fires, the ball bounces, doesn't get quite to the another bit of rebound, a goal, beautiful shot inside there. And we get to see it's by number 16, Mike Ducati, who picked up the rebound ball quickly. We didn't even see it at that moment. And now Roanoke eases back in a little bit closer. North Carolina State 6, Roanoke 4, 5:17 remaining in this half.
Beautiful. Mike Ducati took a shot and a timeout right now by North Carolina State, as Roanoke has scored their 4th goal of the game, 6-4, to bring within 2 goals of tying it with 5:17 left. A beautiful shot by Mike Ducati, who was really playing heads-up ball. The shot came in from out front in the midfield. He picked up the loose ball, and before the goalie could react, he put it right back in, offside, right past Aviles.
Now as Coach Larry Gross wants to tell his troops to settle down, let's play some defense.
He's going to slow his team down a little bit. He wants to get North Carolina State back under wraps. Roanoke bring it back to 6-4 with 5:17 left. With this timeout now.
There'll be more NCAA lacrosse on ESPN on Sunday, April the 12th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to bring you, that's the Maryland-Virginia game. North Carolina State, Roanoke. The two teams we're watching here today are giving us an excellent exhibition of lacrosse. When you asked Larry Gross earlier today, what do you say to your team when you've lost momentum? and you call a timeout, and this is what he had to say.
Well, if we have to call a timeout to get the kids under control again, I think one of the big things to our offense is to get perimeter ball movement. So what we try and do is remind the kids to not get 1 and 2 passes and then get a shot. Get the ball moving, get it around, get the defense a little bit out of position, and then look for the goal.
With 5:17 remaining in the first half, we'll see if what Larry Gross had to say before the game is applied by his team here, leading 6-4 against Roanoke College.
Well, he really wants to tighten up the defense, I'm sure, in that particular timeout. Roanoke is taking advantage of some good transition loose ball situations. NC State is good one-on-one. They're better matched probably than Roanoke, but they can't give them those easy transition goals, which Roanoke has taken advantage of for the last 2 scores.
Extra man opportunity now for North Carolina State as number 20, which would be Steve Sullivan for Roanoke, is called for a slash on the face-off. So North Carolina State will have a minute with an extra man advantage to see if they can get back a couple of these last 2 goals, or a couple of these goals that Roanoke scored in the last couple of minutes.
Good situation for North Carolina State to put that lead back to 3 goals with only 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Ball back behind the goal now being brought out. Number 4, which is John Poggio, brings it all the way back out front. If he doesn't get picked up, he's going to walk around and fire. They slide a little late from the crease, Roanoke does.
Standard
So
1-4-1 offense, Bob. Standard 1-4-1 offense with the North Carolina State team. 1 feeder behind, 1 midi up top, 4 men across. They're looking for somebody on the crease to hit. Watch the feed to the crease.
There's a quick feed inside of the crease, and it'll be run down by Benny Lehman. Now the ball being brought in very quickly by Kevin Sullivan for North Carolina State. They'll get it across to back to behind to Poggio. Poggio has a wingman wide open over here. Benny Lehman gives it off to him. Lehman will fire on top of the goal. Lehman, that's what they're trying to work, a quick 2-and-1 on the side of the goal, and Lehman took advantage of that but fired over top of the goal. Neuer is an intimidating goalie.
I think it's a beautiful shot by Lehman, and Neuer, watch it come out to Lehman. He cranks it up. I think Neuer deflects it right off. It looks like it deflected right off his shoulder or off his stick. Here it comes again.
Poggio back out front.
Lehman takes a shot. This is live action.
Back to Benny Lehman. Lehman trying to get inside and double roll, fires wide of the goal. As to say, Neuer intimidates you, right? He takes away the angle, makes you take low percentage shots. And this is what's happening to North Carolina State in this extra man series. We look down now, we count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The penalty is over. So North Carolina State has wasted an extra man opportunity, but mainly due to good defense by Roanoke.
Neuer is tough, and you can't let that, you don't forget about that when you have a goalie of his caliber in there. You're always thinking, boy, I have to shoot the low percentage shot, I have to shoot for the corners, have to shoot for the pipes.
Johnny Swerdloff brings it back out to the side. Now as Roanoke will go back on defense, and North Carolina State will set up their regular rotation on offense. Nice stop inside by Graham Standish as he snuffed the pass by Benny Lehman. The ball still rolling loose. We'll see who picks it up. It goes out of bounds, and it will be possession going over to North Carolina State. 3:40 remaining in the first half. North Carolina State leading Roanoke 6-4.
Roanoke's really come back and made a nice game of it. They've changed the tempo enough. There is Larry Gross, North Carolina State coach, and I'm sure he'd like to get one more goal to go into the half, 3 goals up.
Waiting now for Johnny Swerdloff to bring the ball back out front. Oh, nice shot, a beautiful shot, a backhanded shot. He had his man all beaten, he had his man played all the way, had Graham Standish, and with that, Lehman, Swerdloff just flipped the ball back over his shoulder into the goal, and North Carolina State gets that goal you're talking about, now moving out to a 3-goal edge over Roanoke.
Let's watch Swerdloff drive the right side. He's being played beautiful by Graham. Look at this. He comes in great body position. Neuer is not even expecting the shot. Over the head, right between his shoulder and his defensive man's shoulder. Neuer didn't expect the shot, didn't react, wasn't on his toes, and there's a great goal by John Swerdloff, one that shows what a fine athlete some of these attackmen are. Beautiful.
Facing off again is Astorino, who's controlled the faceoff fairly well. He's being hounded down now by Rocco Guglielmo, and he rolls the ball back, and North Carolina State controls. Long clearing pass. It's a foot race now to get back inside for the defensive midfielder. And a long shot and a nice bounce shot over top of the goal. Backed up inside there by Scott Nelson for North Carolina State.
Roanoke's really got to settle down now. There's 3 minutes and 18 seconds left. The last thing they want to do is let another goal come up here and go into the halftime 8-4.
Benny Lehman will put it in play. Back on the end line. Picked up by Graham Standish. And it's obvious here that the attack, as we see a pick being set and a roll back by John Swerdloff, it's obvious the attack is the key to the whole offense for North Carolina State.
They've got a good attack, and it's well balanced. Each one of the attack members have about 25 points for the season so far.
Mark Fames has the ball taken away, and Roanoke College can go down on a fast break, but nice recovery inside by Mark Fames. Ball picked up in there by Guglielmo. Guglielmo loses it. Good hit. A leveling hit inside by Jimmy Sullivan for Roanoke. But that doesn't do any good as North Carolina State comes back down on offense and a shot wide of the goal. State's not really shooting on the goal very well, except for a couple of close-in shots taken by the attack. Well, the midfielders are shooting off the goal.
Again, John Neuer will do that for you. You're looking at the pipes. Look at this hit by Sullivan. The ball's upfield. Here comes Sullivan. The hit was up farther. This was the hit we just called here. There it was, John Sullivan. You saw it there at the tail end of that shot. Came in, nice low shoulder, leveled his man, got the ball back.
Now back out on an offense for North Carolina State. North Carolina State tries to set up the double team and a pick and roll, and they come back out front, not getting it. Get the double team, but the pick wasn't set up and the screen wasn't set up. So back out front comes Benny Lehman and fire, and a nice shot inside by Scott Nelson. 2:19 remaining in the first half. North Carolina State leading Roanoke 7-4. North Carolina State in red, Roanoke in white.
Amazing that Scott Nelson even got that shot off. He was double teamed. The feed came down by his knees, and he still got the shot off. And Neuer was right with him the whole way.
Johnny Swerdloff brings it inside, has his man beat, wants to roll in, and a nice save by Neuer as Neuer had this, and a rebound shot by John Swerdloff. A beautiful play. Swerdloff took the shot, Neuer made the save, the rebound came out, and bang, Swerdloff's right there again.
That's heads-up play by John Swerdloff, and it's beautiful. This is what you want to train your attackman to do. Once the shot comes in, let's watch it right here. Neuer is right there. Look how he comes out and cuts the angle down. He blocks it down. Now the attack goes to the crease to get the garbage goal. He picks it up, bats it in like a baseball bat. Neuer had no chance to make that save. He already made the great save. And there you go with the 8th goal of the game, 8-4 with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left. North Carolina State in the lead.
Facing off for Roanoke will be 34, Tom Ritter. And facing off for North Carolina State, number 18, Chris Astorino. Astorino controls, drives in. They have a fast break set up. Quickly over to Swerdloff. Swerdloff over to Benny Lehman. Benny Lehman back in a nice fade to Scott Nelson. And a picture-perfect fast break. And now North Carolina State starting to ease out to a pretty comfortable lead. North Carolina State 9, Roanoke 4, only 1:59 remaining in the first half.
Watch Scott Nelson to Lehman right here. It's a beautiful fast break. As the ball comes down, you want to move it in the air when you're having an extra man situation on a fast break. Over to Lehman. Lehman sees Nelson on the right side of the goal. Now Neuer can't make the adjustment. He already made the adjustment. Right in the goal by Nelson. Beautiful goal. Scott Nelson, 21 from Yorktown, New York. 9-4 with 1:59 left. And we've got a timeout on the field.
Paul Griffin, Coach Paul Griffin. There's two very nice fans. Hopefully things are going their way today as they're cheering for North Carolina State University.
Shows the great weather.
Coach Paul Griffin calling this timeout to have his troops regroup. And you get a couple of fast break goals like that, it's a good time to call a timeout. Tell your people to settle down, let's get back and play defense, let's get back in the hole, let's crash in on the face-offs perhaps. We can hear it now just barely over our...
Well, it really hurts because it was 7-4 a minute ago, and all of a sudden we have 2 goals.
So Coach Paul Griffin saying, let's get one now, get one after that. We'll get right back into this game. Let's get it 1 goal at a time.
That's right. Again, it was 7-4, and with 3 minutes left, you want to play pretty tight, especially a team like Roanoke. They want to control the tempo of the game.
Coach Paul Griffin of Roanoke was asked earlier today what he thought the keys were to victory today, and these are his comments.
The key to today's game for Roanoke will be establishing tempo. We can't allow NC State to get their running game going. We have to slow the game down a little bit on them and eliminate their transition goals, and also get an outstanding game from our senior All-American goalie, John Neuer.
So there you have it. Coach Paul Griffin saying we can't allow North Carolina State to get into their running game, and that's what they've done here in the last 6 or 7 minutes, moving out to a 9-4 lead.
That's right. In the defense of John Neuer, the fast break situations, you can't, no matter how good a goalie you are, you can't make those saves when they're executed perfectly like those last fast breaks were.
Nice control inside there by number 34, Tom Ritter for Roanoke, and Roanoke will go back on offense for the first time in quite a few minutes. Goldsmith back over to Pomper. Pomper picked up again by Franchuk. Number 33, Greg Franchuk's done a good job on Bruce Pomper today. Pomper trying to lose him, now comes back around, looks outside, looking for the feed, overshoots. An opportunity for Seta to cut it. He got a shot off, overshot it. Now the ball rolling loose, picked up in a fast break. It's going to be a one-on-one situation as they roll down on top of John Neuer. And he fakes Neuer completely and fires it over top. Number 21, Scotty Nelson. Nothing Neuer could do about that. And it's the very thing that I'm sure Coach Paul Griffin didn't want to see happen after he just took a timeout.
That's right. It's a transition game again. In the last 3 minutes, they've scored 3 quick goals on transition. They can't match North Carolina State with transition. Here you see Scotty Nelson coming down one-on-one. What he wants to do is make the goalie commit. He's going to fake one way or the other and make him commit. And once the goalie commits, he goes the other way. He'll fake low. If the goalie takes it all the way, he'll go high and vice versa. He made the good fake that time for Scott Nelson's last goal to make it 10-4. Here we go with it. Scott Nelson coming in. Watch him fake. He's going to go high, low, high, low. He fakes high. New Roar goes up for it. Then he comes down low again. Then he goes back up high. New Roar was on his knees with the low fake. No way to get back up top. And Scott Nelson got the 10th goal for North Carolina State for a commanding lead, 10-4, 1:14 left in the second quarter.
Roanoke with possession of the ball as North Carolina State was called for pushing off on the faceoff, and they'll put it in play with Rocco Guglielmo, Jim Sullivan, and Carl Wist on midfield. Back out front to back top of the box rather, Paul Goldsmith, number 4, trying to roll inside, looking for the double team. His defenseman has him played very well, so he doesn't draw the double team. Guglielmo now has the ball checked away momentarily. 55 seconds remain in the first half here. The clock is on the field. Goldsmith momentarily loses eye contact with the ball, and it rolls out of back towards Victor Rivera. And the ball still being kicked around down in front of the Roanoke bench. And no possession as of yet. Picked up nicely by Honorata. He loses it. And finally controlled by Sullivan. He's nailed from behind. We wait to see what the call is. Pushing white push. I guess there are a few people who did not see that push. We'll take a look at it again.
Look at the ground ball, and you're going to get a push here. It's a marathon ground ball. Here comes the push. We don't see it yet.
That was the push, but they called white pushing and red possession. So occasionally, official will miss something. He doesn't have the opportunity to see it again like we do.
No, he doesn't.
Waiting now for the ball to be put in play. North Carolina State, with only 32 seconds showing on the clock, will try to clear the ball and get another quick goal, leading 10-4 here at this almost the close of the first half.
Some discussion on the sideline with Larry Gross and the officials. There's some kind of question here. As you see Larry Gross and his coaching staff talking to the officials.
Waiting now. I think they are going to give possession over to Roanoke College, as I see already moving back down the other way.
Michael, let's go. Get in the box, Michael.
It will be possession. It will be a technical foul. So we have a minute and a half total penalties now accumulated against North Carolina State, unless one of them went against Roanoke. We'll have to see. We have 1, 2. Okay, so Roanoke will have the man advantage for 30 seconds once the penalty rolls down. Now, if you have possession of the ball in a penalty situation and time runs out, you will be given possession of the ball back again at the beginning of the next quarter.
Something to keep in mind.
Now, Tommy Ritter back out front, still driving in, wants to shoot, fires, and the ball bounces off the pipe and comes back out front again. And that was a wasted opportunity as North Carolina State goes back down on offense. 10 seconds showing on the clock. North Carolina State, very little time to get a score in here. The ball knocked down. A fire inside, shot fired inside, and Noor makes a great save as the ball rolls out of bounds on the back line. And Noor has been very, very good here. 1 second showing on the scoreboard clock here. We're not sure if that's the official time being kept down on the field.
Tom Ritter would love to have that shot back from Roanoke. He had the open net. He made the nice fake, came in from about 5 yards out and hit the pipe.
Now we see possession going over to Roanoke. The penalty is still in effect. And if Roanoke holds the ball, they will get it back to start the third quarter. Waiting now as number 16, Mike Sedadakati, runs out the first half with North Carolina State leading Roanoke in very, very good fashion, 10-4. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute with the halftime show.
April is another live and lively month on ESPN. We'll bring you comprehensive live coverage of the NFL Draft and Stanley Cup playoff action. We'll be back in Dallas for the week-long WCT Championships. And there's the debut of live NASL soccer. April means plenty of baseball action, 6 NCAA games, American and National League 1981 perspectives, and a special on baseball in the strike zone. April marks the return of Auto Racing 81, horse show jumping, and NCAA lacrosse. The debut of a controversial new talk show. Special presentations of the British Figure Skating Championships, the Road to Dallas, the Martin Luther King Games, the Formula One Brazilian Grand Prix, NFL Draft Preview, AIAW Basketball Championships, and the Dapper Dan Classic. Of course, April also means favorites like SportsCenter, WCT Tennis, Top Rank Boxing, This Week in the NHL, This Week in the NBA, PKA Karate. It never rains on ESPN's April Parade of Total Sports.
"75 years ago, violence threatened the future of college football. President Theodore Roosevelt's concern for football injuries and deaths influenced colleges to develop safer rules. The NCAA was born. Today, the NCAA is comprised of more than 700 colleges. The NCAA's survival and growth have progressed through its service to college and amateur athletics. The NCAA is beginning celebration of its 75th anniversary this academic year by continuing that tradition. The NCAA, 75 years of service.
Back here at halftime at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the campus of the University of Virginia. It's Bob Smith and Leif Elsmo, and as you can see, North Carolina State has moved out to a commanding 10-4 lead over Roanoke, despite the outstanding play of All-American goalie John Noor. You know, Leif, a lot of times we see officials make calls, and we don't know why that official made that call. I know you had an opportunity earlier today to talk to the officials and find out something about their individual responsibilities at certain positions on the field.
That's right, we did. And we'd like to go to that right now and see what they have to say about their responsibilities. We're pleased to have with us today at halftime 3 of the better referees in the Virginia group down here to do today's game. We want to talk to them about their responsibilities in the game, what they're looking for as the game progresses in 3 areas: the offensive half of the field, in the middle of the field, and in the transition game. Bob Sandell is the referee for today's game. Bob, what are your responsibilities as the game progresses?
Well, we all have pretty much equal responsibilities, Leif. When the ball's settled down at one end of the field, one of the officials has the end line. He has the ball when it's on his half of the field. The official on the opposite side would have the sideline on the other side and his half of the field when the ball is in there. The third man is looking primarily into the crease and in front of the crease for violations in that area where there's a lot of action, and if you're not careful, you can have people getting picked off in there illegally and so forth. With a 3-man crew, we have really very good coverage of a lacrosse game. And when you have 2 good teams who can run like these 2 teams can, you definitely need 3 officials.
Thank you very much, Bob. John Titus is the umpire. Bob is the referee. John, step over here if you would, please. As the umpire, is there any difference in your responsibilities as to those of the referee?
Basically, they're the same. I'll be working the far sideline, and my responsibility will be primarily for offsides this afternoon, and out-of-bounds responsibilities on the far sideline. But as Bob said earlier, it's all pretty much the same. You see a foul, you call it. The point is to get the call right, not who makes the call.
Thank you very much. Our third party in today's referee group is Al Sadler. Al, I know you're a good lacrosse player from years back. Anything to add to what your cohorts have said? You're refereeing the game, and they pretty well cover the responsibilities. Let me ask you, if you see an infraction, if they see an infraction, they call it one way, you see it another way. How do you handle that?
That's their call, Leif. We have to abide by each other's calls the whole game.
You abide by their calls, so therefore you wouldn't change, you wouldn't overrule, even if it was a definite mistake along the way. And it may have...
we have a rule amongst ourselves. We never override each other on judgment calls.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. 3 referees for today's game, and we'll be right back with the second half of today's exciting lacrosse game.
I don't believe it. It's true. With this book, you've been saving 50% on your weekly food bill?
That's right. And not only is it saving me money, but I should be getting $600 to $700 in the mail by the end of the year from refund coupons alone.
The 1981 Guide to Coupons and Refunds. But I have coupons, and I never seem to save that much.
I know, I had the same trouble, but then I got a copy of the Guide to Coupons and Refunds. That's when I really started to save more than half on my food bills. It tells you how to organize your coupons and where to find hundreds in just a few weeks. Even a list of special addresses that you can write to for refund forms. And until I got my book, I never knew how to combine coupons for savings of 70, 80, even 90%. I call it my personal gold mine.
It'll work for me, too?
Absolutely. And once you get started, it's more fun than a television game show.
But what do I do with Maxwell House refund forms if I drink Sanka, or brand check cereal if my kids prefer Wheaties?
Easy. You trade them, which again is a lot of fun. There's an entire list in the book of who to contact and their addresses. There's one or even several in just about every state.
Can I still get a copy of this book?
Let me tell you, that's not all you get. If you would order now, you'll also receive a copy of 1001 Valuable Things you can get free. Things like beauty and fashion aids, free paintings and posters, free goodies for your pets, cookbooks that cost you absolutely nothing, and hundreds more.
This is a tremendous offer, and it won't last forever. You'll get your 1981 guide to coupons and refunds and 1001 valuable things you can get free. Both books for only $5.95. That's right, only $5.95. Here's how to order.
To order your copy, send $5.95 to Coupons and Refunds, P.O. Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut, or call toll-free 1-800-358-9157. Remember, this offer expires May 15th, 1981.
Bob Smith along with Leif Elsmo, and we're here at halftime at the North Carolina State Roanoke game. North Carolina State leading Roanoke 10-4 as you hear both teams coming back on the field. There'll be more exciting lacrosse coming your way on ESPN. The Maryland at Navy game will be coming to you on Sunday, April the 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Naval Academy, 10 straight times they've appeared in the Division I championship tournament. Maryland has won 2 NCAA Division I titles in the 10-year history of the championship. An outstanding game, Maryland at Navy, Sunday, April the 19th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's a young lacrosse fan as we see the stats for the first half. Leif, why don't you run those for us?
Okay, Bob, the score pretty much tells it all. 10 goals for North Carolina State against 4 for Roanoke. But look at the shots, pretty much even. 35 for North Carolina State against 24 for Roanoke, which just tells you that Roanoke's not getting the high percentage shots. We've got saves that are pretty much even, face-offs are pretty much even. So the shooting percentage is the key factor here. 28%, almost 30% for North Carolina State, 16%, and the shooting efficiency for the extra man is pretty much even.
Other exciting sports, of course, take place during the spring besides lacrosse. One of them is NCAA baseball. We have an outstanding game for you coming up. It'll be Southern Mississippi at Alabama, Friday, April the 17th at 4 p.m. on ESPN. That's Eastern Standard Time and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Alabama, 2 years ago, Alabama was in the Southeast Conference cellar, and they brought in head coach Barry Schellenberger. And this year they're entrenched in first place in the Southeast Conference West. Dave Magadan, a 400 hitting third baseman, set a school and conference record with a consecutive game hitting streak of over 25 games. Southern Mississippi lost a pair of high-scoring games to Alabama in March, but with 4 batters hovering near the 400 mark, they figured to put a lot of pressure on the Tide's pitchers. That's Southern Mississippi at Alabama, NCAA baseball, Friday, April 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're just about ready now for the beginning of the second half. As we mentioned before, the penalty situation, Roanoke had control of the ball, therefore they got the ball back. Long clearing pass back over, all the way over to Graham Standish, and Standish loses it, and that quickly Roanoke goes back on defense.
Sean Smith, number 15 for Roanoke, pretty upset that the defenseman Graham Standish would make that bad pass after an easy clear situation.
No reason to hurry that because they're already up a man. They're 6-on-5 at the attack end of the field. They should have been able to find somebody open to get them the quick pass.
That's right. There won't be any pressure on them, and the key thing is to get it up there, take your time, take 10, 15 seconds, whatever it takes, but get it up there to work your extra man play and to get a good shot.
Now North Carolina State's going to try to leg it out. If they get the ball back into the box at the far end, at the other end of the field, they will have killed the penalty. They step in, the penalty's over, and North Carolina State now goes back in offense, walks all the way in. Scott Nelson gets a quick feed, and that's soon with only 23 seconds gone in the first half. North Carolina State moves out to an 11-4 lead over Roanoke College.
Well, you talk about wheels. Let's watch Walter Hine. He's got some legs. He brings the ball all the way up the field. He clears it single-handedly, gets it in the box. Now the defender for Roanoke thinks that's okay, and that's all he's going to do, but no way. He goes into the goal, looks for the shot, feeds it off to Scott Nelson. Scott Nelson with the goalie out. Neurohr way over to the left side, just dumps it in for an easy goal. This is the kind of goals that they've been getting all day long. The shot differential isn't that much. It's the efficiency of the shots. They've been getting these fast break, high percentage shots that have put them 7 goals ahead of Roanoke.
Putting now for the face-off whistle, as Astorino's been very, very effective for North Carolina State on face-offs, and once again, North Carolina State gets the face-off in the person of Dave Sweeney. Nelson pulling off the crease to help out, clearing the ball offensively. Now they put it behind you. They're very, very good attackman, Johnny Swerdloff. Now back out front to Sweeney. They're going to try a sweep and set up a screen for Sweeney. He fires over top of the goal. Johnny Neurohr had that red all the way, but this time North Carolina State's back to goal up, and Swerdloff will get it back for him.
Mike Serticati was playing defense for Roanoke, and he's letting his man get a little bit too tight. Number 25, Dave Sweeney, came in a little bit too close.
Now, Swerdloff rolling back in, trying to get by George Powers. Feeds into the crease, and a shot's knocked out of the way as they try to get it into John Poggio. Poggio has the ball checked out, but it's backed up nicely there by Benny Lehman. Lehman pushes off with his right arm, and they used to call that warding off, but I guess they didn't call it warding off that time.
Didn't call that one.
Back out front now as the ball's checked away nicely by a good defensive play on the midfielder, and we look to see what that call is. Interference with the goalie, and it will go over to Roanoke, and we'll see if it's a free clear situation. And it will be a free clear, which means that Neuer had possession of the ball in the crease when his stick was checked. Therefore, the ball goes over beyond the midfield line, and Roanoke will go on offense.
Before that infraction, Stuart Comitas for Roanoke made an excellent check on the North Carolina State man that was advancing one-on-one with Neuer to save him from getting a good shot.
Back over now to Stu Cremitas, the man you just mentioned. Down on offense, you give it in to Pomper. Pomper's been the trigger man, as we mentioned earlier. Quick feed inside to Sean Smith, and Sean Smith with another spectacular shot wide of the goal, and it's run out nicely by, we believe, Paul Goldsmith, and Roanoke will gain possession. This guy's a real acrobat.
He really is. A tremendous behind-the-back shot, but that time he had no angle whatsoever. Thank you. We're going to take a look at it. You'll see that he had no angle whatsoever, but it was a great shot anyway. Here the Pop comes out for the shot. Smith comes back over the shoulder, up in the air, two defensemen on him, and it goes wide of the goal by about 5 yards.
Back out front, nice shot and a score by number 16, Mike Sedidicati, and Roanoke has their first goal of the second half. They now trail North Carolina State 11-5 with 13 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Mike Sedidicati from Elmont, New York, with a great shot there, and this is the kind of shots that North Carolina State's been taking advantage of for the whole first half. They're high percentage, good shots, good cutting game. He beat his man, he came in with a good shot, left of the goalie, nice bounce shot for the fifth goal for Roanoke. To make up for the one that North Carolina State already scored this half. Now it's 11-5, still a 6-goal deficit.
Sedidicati had 7 goals coming into this game. He's a 5'8", 155-pounder from Elmont, New York, playing every bit of that. Now, quick feed over the far side, and Victor Rivera trying to get out of the grasp of Paul Goldsmith to give it back to Aviles. Weak spot here for North Carolina State. Aviles is very weak out of the goal.
He really is.
That's why they allow him to bring the ball up so far. They want to trap him as Sean Smith drops down on him. Sort of a lob pass inside. As we see once again, Aviles does not have any control with the ball when he goes to pass it off. Here comes Sean Smith rolling in, fires at a low bouncer, snuffed by Aviles, brought right back out by a quick feed inside to Goldsmith. He is knocked down as he goes for the ball. Excuse me, not Goldsmith, that was Carl Wist, number 24. The ball kept in play, a little bit of a tumbling act down on the sideline. And a good sportsmanship. Number 20, Jim Sullivan, helps up Astorino.
Ball goes back to North Carolina State, but Aviles really has no... Here's the sideline shot as we come in. Good play by both players as they come in. What a great scoop. And here the referee called he was on the line as he scooped the ball back into play. That makes him out of bounds, and the ball's out of bounds. It goes to North Carolina State.
Of course, the field here at Scott Stadium used for both football and lacrosse. And the darker lines, the outline of the lacrosse field, and of course the white lines belong to the football field. Back inside quickly to Walter Hine. And Hine looking across, finds Benny Honorata. Honorata, the little man, turns, fires inside. The ball gets by Scott Nelson. A quick look side feed to Nelson. Nelson couldn't handle it. Roanoke goes back on offense. Benny Honorata, 5'6", 150 pounds. And this young man is a very, very fine lacrosse player for North Carolina State University.
What a great move he made coming in one-on-one, and he elected to pass it off for the easy assist. And, of course, sometimes you risk the chance that you'll miss the feed or he'll miss the pass, and in this case, that happened.
Honorata with 3 goals coming into today's game. Waiting now for New Roy to bring it up. They try to set up a 2-on-1 on the far side. They have a long clearing pass. That's a good pass if you can make it, and a bad pass if you miss it. The 60-yard clearing pass across. Now nicely into Willie Benazzi. He's knocked down. And we'll see what they call.
That should be from behind for Kevin Sullivan, number 9 from North Carolina State.
That's exactly what they call. And we'll have it coming up again.
We're going to take a look at it. Here we are clearing the ball. Watch number 9. He'll go right up the back of this player, right up Roanoke. There we go. Right through the back. That's illegal. From behind, he'll spend some time in the penalty box because there was possession.
1 minute to be exact.
1 minute to be exact.
Waiting now for Roanoke to go on extra man offense. Sometimes you misgauge the speed of the fellow running in front of you. You're running a little faster than he is, and you end up running up his back and knocking him down. Roanoke now dropping down into a 1-4-1. Number 16, Sedidicati, comes all the way around. He paid dearly for that as he is leveled, and we guess had the wind knocked out of him. But he was stuck pretty well there by number 26. We're looking to see.
Could have been either Walter Hine 22
or
Walter
Hine.
I think Walter Hine 22. Let's take a look at it. He made a beautiful move coming around the goal. Here he is, beats his defenseman, but watch the slide come down. Slide will come down, and right in there, Walter Hine gives him a nice check, and I believe it's just the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully no cracked ribs, but he got him right in the midsection with a beautiful legal check.
Mike Sedidicati, a key man here, is replacing Bill Hogan on the midfield, so if they lose Sedidicati, that would leave them, they have to go down to a third line player to fill out that first midfield.
Absolutely. Bill
Looks
Hogan
like he's all right
injured.
coming off now.
He does. It must have been just knocked the wind out.
What you can see now as Roanoke will try to play on everybody in the defensive end of the field. They have a 6-on-5 advantage, and even though North Carolina State's bringing the ball, and they'll be under a lot of pressure. As we see now, Carl Wist trying to pick up Walter Hine. Hine with good speed running up the sideline. The ball checked away at the last minute by Sean Smith, but Hine recovers nicely. Good effort by Sean Smith, but Hine does recover and gives it off to little Benny Honorata.
The tactic there is to give it to a good dodging midfielder when you're one-on-one. Let him just go one-on-one with his man to clear the ball, and that's exactly what Walter Hine did. He has good wheels. He just put on the burners and took it up the sideline.
Honorata with a quick feed in now to John Swirloff. Swirloff breaks clear, looks across to Scott Nelson. Nelson fires a nice save by Newar and backed up nicely on the far side by one of the midfielders for for Roanoke, and that's number 21, Stuart Cromidas. Cromidas runs a little trouble, but it does get cleared by Carl Wist.
What a great save by Newar against Scott Nelson. That save was incredible. He had a fake high, went low, and Newar got it with his ankle from the far side. Beautiful.
Nice feed inside to Sean Smith. Backhand shot. Smith shoots every way but straight ahead, doesn't he?
Incredible. He doesn't like to be facing the goal. He loves that behind the back shot. It's a tough shot to read.
Kept inside by Stuart Cromidas, and now Paul Goldsmith tied up momentarily, gets loose. Roanoke controlling the ball here, getting all the loose balls. A low shot wide of the goal. That's going to be a foot race to see who has possession. It goes over to number 21. Possession given to number 21, Stu Cromidas, as he runs to the line before the man from North Carolina State. 10:26 remaining in the third quarter. North Carolina State leading a tenacious Roanoke here, 11-5.
Roanoke's really working the ball beautifully. They're getting some good movement. They're making good patterned cuts. They're driving their men from North Carolina State a little bit harder, and they're getting some great shots in the second half.
Putting now for Pomper, Bruce Pomper, to put the ball in play. Bruce Pomper with 5 goals and 12 assists so far this season coming into today's game. Gives it off quickly over to Brad Speno. Speno's little attackman who played earlier in the first half and is now back in for tour of duty on on midfield for Roanoke College. Pomper tries to run his man to a pick, but the pick is not successful. Now they're back out front to Speno. Good controlled offense. Speno's going to come clear and fire. Oh, bouncer scores! And that time Aviles was beaten on a shot that bounced right by him, and Roanoke inches back closer and closer, now only trailing 11-6, 9:58 remaining in the third quarter.
Let's watch Brad Speno against Kevin Sullivan. He'll come in here. Here's Speno against Sullivan, number 9. Sullivan overplays him a little bit, doesn't move his feet fast enough. Speno runs right by him, comes down, bounce shot right between the legs. Aviles missed it right between the legs. Normally you want to close your legs and block it so that if your stick doesn't get it, your legs do. He kept the wide stance. He missed it with his stick. Consequently, win in the nets for Speno, 11-6. Roanoke gets another score with 9:58 left in the third quarter.
One of the keys to the game from here on in is going to be who gets the face-offs. In a tight game, getting the face-offs means ball control. And we see now as Astorino has done a good job all day for North Carolina State, controls the ball, looks back over, they got a 6-1-5 coming down, and a shot and a score, and a beautiful goal by Chuck Muir as he waltzed in and fired it over Newer. And I don't care whether you're an All-American goalie or not, you're not going to stop that kind of a shot.
Now, Chuck Muir loaded the cannon that time, and he really let it fly. It's incredible. Let's take a look at it. This is a harder shot as you ever see. As you see, number 18, Chris Astorino, takes it over to Muir. Muir just cranks up. Nobody's playing him. Watch this. Nobody's playing him. He just winds it up and says, I want this one. Bingo. Lets it fly. Neuer actually got a little bit of a shoulder on it, but it went over his right shoulder. That's off stick. That's off the stick side of him. He's a left-hander, and that went in for the next score, 12-6. North Carolina State over Roanoke with 9:49.
Some of the dejected Roanoke fans, we'd say, by the lack of smiles on their face, as North Carolina State once again controls the face-off.
Roanoke with the ball now.
Back out front, the shot will go wide. You know, we've had some outstanding camera work here today.
Incredible, absolutely
Some
incredible.
of these shots, excellent camera work and an excellent director, of course, in Sheldon Schemmer. Sheldon Schemmer, the premier director of lacrosse on television, among other sports that he does.
He's also a nice guy.
Waiting now for North Carolina State to put the ball in play on the far side. As you see, they're leading Roanoke 12-6. About 9 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
Let's watch Aviles again, Bob. I keep getting surprised at his propensity to throw this ball away. He doesn't mind just throwing it into a pack of people.
Loose ball on the field. That's the call for the by the whistle of the referee stopping play.
Again, Aviles has been so tough and so fundamentally pure in the goal. Played a very tough game, very good game. But outside the goal, he just doesn't mind throwing that thing to anybody.
It's kind of an enigma. He twirls the stick. He handles the stick very well. But when he goes to pass the ball, he seems to throw it indiscriminately up the field. We'll watch here once again. They're allowing him to come as far as he wants to come. They probably let him take it down to the goal almost. Now there's a nice clearing pass into Johnny Swerdloff. Swerdloff coming up as good attackmen do to help out on the clear.
Coming in, hitting the seam, being the open man.
Lehman read a mental lapse. He can't go across the line to pick it up. It's given back to him by one of the defensemen. Flag is down as we're not quite sure what the call was.
Should be offsides on Roanoke. I think Sean Smith went over.
Yeah, I look back down now. I see only 2 men back. You must keep at least 3 men in the attack end of the field and in the defensive end of the field at any one time. If you're attacking the ball, if you're attacking the goal, you must keep at least 3 men back in the defensive end of the field.
What happened was Sean Smith came down the midfield stripe, just trying to deflect that pass that went, the errant pass that came on the ground, and he accidentally stepped on the line. Knowing that he couldn't, he accidentally did.
That was a possession penalty, so Roanoke will be down a man for 30 seconds. Trailing 12-6 here with 8:50 remaining in the third quarter. Back out front now, Kevin Sullivan with the ball, and North Carolina State in it's an overload right, a 1-3-2 overload right. We look back now as Poggio tries to bring the ball back out front. Gives it off to Muir. Sullivan will fire the ball, and a nice save by Johnny Muir. And he's everything we were told he was in the goal. And a long clearing pass up, and we'll see where it bounces. It bounces right back into the stick of one of the defensemen for North Carolina State. Aviles twirls the stick once, looks for somebody to get it off to. Now gives it over to a defenseman, and Aviles says, boy, am I glad I got rid of that one.
We got a nice pass that time, no question about it. Fake left, went right.
Right now, looking back inside, a good quick feed into Johnny Swerdloff. Swerdloff feeds it, Scotty Nelson, and Nelson's done an outstanding job getting loose from the crease all day long. And we have now the 13th goal for North Carolina State as they lead Roanoke 13-6, 8:07 remaining in the third quarter.
Well, we'll see Scotty Nelson beat Graham Standish across the crease, and this is beautiful stick work. Watch Swerdloff break across the back of the crease here. He's looking to the crease. Here comes Nelson flying across, picks up the feed, left Graham Standish behind. Nice shot, left-hand side, and anytime you get a good feed to the crease, it's almost impossible for that goalie to make that save. New Roar's had a tough job today, Bob, because he's had a lot of high percentage shots taken against him.
He stops everything that's fired from the outside, and the only way North Carolina State's been successful is to get the ball in tight on him. Winning back now as Astorino once again tries to control the face-off and does so, and go down, and they have a 6-on-5 coming back in. Astorino looks, but he's checked from behind very nicely on a good pursuit by Tom Ritter, and the ball will be put back out front. Now, quick feed inside as they're pressing, as the North Carolina State's pressing to the goal. Benny Lehman looks out front, doesn't find an opening, so he'll just settle it down. Give it off over to Bill Tierney. Tierney trying to drive inside his man, has the ball knocked away as he almost stepped in the crease. He kind of had to release it. He was running right for the crease and didn't have much of an option.
Nice defensive play, actually, to push him back and to take him out of his game pattern.
George Powers bringing it up, and he should have the ball cleared easily. They're going to allow the defenseman to come over, and he throws the ball back over the far side to Graham Standish, and Standish will leg it in towards the attack.
Notice George Powers is elected to wear the black high-top tennis shoes on this AstroTurf.
Well, I imagine playing on natural grass, as Roanoke does most of the time, that they probably did not have a wide selection of shoes for this surface. Looking now, as Sedekati comes back in, trying to get the ball in some pressure. The long bounce shot off the shoulder of Aviles. 6:56 remaining in the third quarter. Roanoke trailing North Carolina State 13-6.
That's a good shot by Ritter, but what you have to do if you're shooting from 18 yards out, like where that shot was, you have to make sure there's a screen on the crease. Otherwise, the chances of that goal going in are very slim.
Putting now as Bruce Popper brings it in. Roses it off to Paul Goldsmith. Looking back out front. 3 men cutting on the midfield. They put it back out front. They try to cut down 3 men instead of a 1-4-1 situation out front. Ball controlled finally by Ritter as he missed the initial pass. Ritter wants to shoot, fires over top of the goal. I think Aviles would have snared that one. It was kind of a weak shot over top of the goal to the right-hand side, and Aviles looked like he had it red all the way. Backed up nicely, though, by Paul Goldsmith, and Roanoke retains possession.
Nice move by Ritter, though. He came in with the reverse roll and had a nice left-handed shot and backed up beautifully. Roanoke's playing good ball control.
Pomper looking back out front, trying to find, I guess, the ever-elusive Sean Smith has the ball checked away. Pomper looks back and it rolled over his head. Picked up neatly in there by Greg Franchuk.
I got to think I'd be making some plays go right to Sean Smith if I was the coach of this team.
He's back inside now. They try to give it off over to Johnny Swerdloff. Swerdloff looks inside, gives it off, and nicely into a cutting midfielder inside. Picked off by Johnny Neurer, however. Neurer alert, picks off the passes, makes good saves. Very, very
beautiful save
stylish
right there.
goalie for Roanoke College.
Bill Tierney came in with a nice cut, had a point-blank shot, and Neurer took it right in the stomach.
Back now down as Jim Rohde. If I look out often with some of these defensemen, it look like they're about to nail. It's because of a reaction I had a long time ago from something like that. Benny Lehman looks in, fires wide of the goal. I used to play defense years and years ago.
Uncontrolled reaction.
Goalie threw me a long clearing pass, and I ended up with 3 broken ribs.
The old buddy pass. Let's take a look at the action right here. This is Bob Lehman coming around, getting double teamed. He's coming around for a shot. Right in front of the crease. Neurer makes an excellent save, comes into the ball, deflected it with his arm or the bottom half of his stick.
You look where Neurer's position on that shot. He's almost out to the edge of the crease. What this does is it cuts down your angle.
Cuts down about 10, 15, 20 degrees, right. He's always working to get that angle cut down.
Benny Lehman bringing it in now from back line. Tries to feed inside to Scott Nelson. Nelson with a good shot that time, rides the ball up over top of the goal, and Powers will control. Powers looks a little on the slow side to be trying to run it out against John Swerdloff. He'll probably try to get some help from another defenseman, and he finds it with Graham Standish. North Carolina State now press riding all over the field, feeling they probably have better speed than Roanoke, but Roanoke manages to get the ball up to Jimmy Fitzpatrick. Now in at midfield, he's from Brentwood, New York.
With 5 minutes left in the third quarter, Roanoke should really try to settle down and get a good shot here to pick up a couple goals before we get into the fourth quarter.
Willie Benazzi, number 5, in on midfield also, as we see Paul Goldsmith take the ball back behind against Victor Rivera. Rivera with a good check on him. Finally takes the ball away as Goldsmith leans back just slightly. And Roanoke's got to make a change here. They cannot go to the goal with their behind attackman against this North Carolina State defenseman.
Actually, it wasn't too bad a move, but he held it too long. He should have dished it off or pulled back out. He just held on for just about 2 cuts too many.
4:37 remaining in the third quarter. North Carolina State in red, leading Roanoke 13-6. North Carolina State back on offense again with Johnny Poggio. Poggio comes clean but doesn't find anybody to dish it off to. And they'll go back and put a cutting offense. Lehman looks back at a cutter, doesn't give him the ball. North Carolina State rotating from behind the goal back out front. Back into Sweeney now. Sweeney wants to fire, fires a bouncer knocked down somewhere in front of the goal. Another nice shot on a great rebound by Johnny Swerdloff. Another alert play by Swerdloff. And North Carolina State eases out now to a 14-6 lead with 4:11 remaining in the third quarter.
Sweeney took the initial shot, and Swerdloff got the garbage, the transition we almost call it, because the ball's loose. It's a loose ball situation. And this is where stick walk really comes into play. Now here the shot comes off the crease. Swerdloff picks it up. He sees that everything is in a state of transition. Players are out of position. Even Neurer was out a little too farther than he would like to be. So Swerdloff picked it up and sent it home to the left side of Neurer, who was out of position trying to make the first save.
Sign of a very, very good attackman. Gets the rebound shot as we see some interested fans. As we look down at the face-off to see if Astorino once again will control it. He rakes it back, and it is controlled by North Carolina State. As we mentioned, sign of a very good attackman when he gets the rebound shots. Quick feed inside, gets by and backed up by Benny Lehman. He'll want to shoot. He comes in, walks in, and fires over top the goal.
Lehman from 6 yards out in front missed the goal. I'm sure he'll wish he had that one back. Neurer saw him right out in front, had the good high position, stayed with it, and went over the goal by about 1 foot.
Waiting now for Johnny Swerdloff to bring it in. He'll be picked up by George Powers.
Let's see if they won't work a play here.
See the shot.
Here we go. Here's the shot with Lehman coming around. Neurer set. He's ready for it. The shot comes up. Neurer goes up with it, reads it beautifully, and it's about 3 inches over the top of the pipe.
Now Lehman brings it back out front, looking for some help. Doesn't find it. Midfielders all kind of standing around. North Carolina State in a 2-2-2 with Scotty Nelson down inside, and also number 23 Bill Tierney down on the crease. They'll set a screen for an outside shot or pick off the crease. We look now outside as Poggio brings the ball back out front. Sweeney takes a shot and scores. As we said, the nice screen set up inside on the 2-2-2. And now North Carolina State's pretty much got this one under control. 3:26 remaining in the third quarter.
Here's a textbook play.
15-6.
Textbook play. John Poggio drives the right side. Look, he brings the defenseman up from number 25, Dave Sweeney. Sweeney gets it. He's all ready to crank. Winds up and lets it fly. I'm sure Neurer wish he had that one back because he had about 15 yards to read it.
Coaches talk about the complete slide. What happened was an incomplete slide. The defenseman went out, The midfielder slid over, but nobody went to pick up his man. And as a result, there's an open man who has time to crank and fire.
That's right. When Swinney's man came down to help out, he should have had a man adjacent to him sliding over to pick up him from the Roanoke side. The slide wasn't there. Consequently, he had an open shot and an easy goal.
Rocco Guglielmo with the ball, bringing it in now on offense for Roanoke College. We'll see if they go back to putting the ball behind the goal. As you see, they have it. Paul Goldsmith. Goldsmith's going to have to move the ball to someone else because, as I say that, he runs around and scores. We just talked about him not being able to move the ball one-on-one. A good move, a strong move to the goal, and Goldsmith gets back one of the goals that North Carolina State had just scored. They now trail 15-7.
Let's watch Goldsmith, Bob. Now, again, we talk about the slide. The slide doesn't come here, and that enables Goldsmith to get about 3 yards in front of the crease. Here he drives around. Where's the slide? It's nowhere. He comes around, has all this open area right between the goalie's legs, and scores the 7th goal for Roanoke. Beautiful play, but again, if the slide's there, he shouldn't be that far in front of the goal. That's a tough situation for any goalie to handle.
Paul Goldsmith with 9 goals and 8 assists coming into today's game. Young man from Levittown, New York. And as we see, he stops a moment to talk to the defenseman who's been harassing him all day, Victor Rivera.
He's a sophomore. He'll be around a couple years, and he's a good one.
Ball raked back by Astorino. Astorino's been awesome today on faceoffs, but now we see Roanoke challenging the ball once it's all, you know what the call is. Timeout call by Roanoke College with 2:57 remaining in this quarter. Coach Paul Griffin wants to set up a play as Roanoke goes on offense.
15-7. He has to get a couple scores here to cut this gap down before the 4th quarter starts. 15-7 in the game of lacrosse, you don't consider yourself out of the game because you can score in a very short order of time. But right now, he wants to get his team together, and he wants to get some plays set up for the last 2 minutes of this 3rd quarter.
We're going to be seeing the Collegiate Classic in volleyball on ESPN on Thursday, April the 23rd at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll have semifinal number 1. And on Friday, April the 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll have semifinal number 2. The final will run on Saturday, April the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The location, the UCLA campus. The competitors are the top 4 nationally ranked volleyball teams in the preseason ratings. UCLA, USC, Pepperdine College, and the University of California at Santa Barbara. So be sure to tune in on that, the volleyball, the Collegiate Classic. Back on offense now as Roanoke's having trouble controlling the ball, finally getting it back out with Carl Wist. Wist now calling for a play, the play that I'm sure Coach Paul Griffin sent in with the timeout. Wist looking back over. It's a give and go as he gives it back over to Bruce Pomper. Pomper trying to force in. Roanoke in a 1-4-1. Sean Smith cuts off the pick, but Pomper is tied up so much by the defenseman on the far side, he doesn't have an opportunity to make the feed.
Greg Franchuk played the excellent defense on that. He's an All-American for North Carolina State and really anchors that defense.
Putting back now as finally control is gained by North Carolina State. You look up and nice pass. That was a sure goal if the pass had not been knocked down because Benny Lehman was running in ahead of the defenseman and he would have had a one-on-one with the goalie, John Newrohr. Another really pretty outlet pass going back up. Jimmy Sullivan starts a fast break the other way. Sean Smith looks inside, can't find anybody, gets it back over to the far side. A nice shot taken in there by number 4, Paul Goldsmith. A good fast break worked by Roanoke College, but the shot goes awry and backed up in there by, we wait to see who they give the ball to. Looks like it was backed up by North Carolina State, and they'll get possession.
Well, Goldsmith had an excellent scoring opportunity, and I'm sure that'll haunt him for a little while here. Sean Smith came down, had a scoring shot. I mean, he had an opportunity to shoot about 7 yards to the left of the goal. He elected to pass it over to Goldsmith, who made a nice reach for the ball, brought it down, and cranked it up, let it fly, but he was wide of the mark by about 3 yards.
Sean Smith, after the pass, should have gone to back up the goal, but instead kind of stood and watched Goldsmith fire the ball. Therefore, North Carolina State lost possession.
That's what happens on those fast breaks. Things happen so fast, a lot of times you don't do what you normally might in a settled situation.
Nice clearing pass up by Bobby Aviles. And they've got it cleared. Ball rolling loose now, checked out of the stick of Johnny Swerdloff. It'll go off the foot, we believe, of Roanoke and go back over to North Carolina State.
That's Graham Standish again. Excellent defenseman. He caused a turnover both times, the last 2 times the ball's been down. Excellent stick work, excellent hustler.
You have to have confidence in your speed to go out to the sideline and play a good quick attackman like John Swerdloff. And obviously Standish has that. He's not afraid of overplaying the man and getting beat back to the goal.
He's got great field presence. He can anticipate the passes.
Swerdloff now being pushed back out from the crease area, looking for a little bit of help. Set up into the crease and a nice shot inside there, and a backup really nice by Tierney, and another shot by Scott Nelson knocked down. Tierney took a shot and backed up his own shot and ran back in for a quick feed back. They fed the crease to Scott Nelson instead, as we see Johnny Nora trying to leg it up the field to get out of trouble. A nice pass inside to number 5, Willie Benazzi, and Benazzi will clear the ball in for Roanoke College. Roanoke College not out of this game at 15-7, although only 45 seconds remain in the third quarter. Roanoke has controlled the tempo of this game in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Goldsmith and the rolling pass right by the goal. Smith came underhanded on that one. Backed up nicely in there by Bruce Pomper.
Actually, Jim Fitzpatrick went back and backed that ball up, but it was an excellent move by Goldsmith. And the Roanoke team is controlling the ball a lot better. They seem to be a lot more confident and know more what their offense is designed to do.
Pomper on a sprint out front looking for some help. Didn't get the double team, now pulls back out. 29 seconds showing here on the scoreboard clock as he tries to feed out front. So backup shot, and nice shot scored in there by Willie Benazzi. Benazzi backed up the feed out front, and Roanoke moves back to within 15-8. Third quarter just about over, 23 seconds remaining.
Willie Benazzi picks up this ball. It comes through. It looks like it was for a feed. He picked it up, being real alert. You should have a man out in the midfield line like Benazzi was, backing up play from behind, just like you have a man on the back line backing up shots. He backed up this feed that looked like it was an errant feed, picked it up, just cranked, and had a good shot that went between the legs of the good goalie, Avilas.
That's Willie Benazzi's third goal of the season. And Willie Benazzi, a nice young midfielder from Charlottesville, Virginia, right here near the campus of University of Virginia. 5'9", 155-pound freshman.
15-8, North Carolina State ahead with 23 seconds left in the third quarter.
Once again, Astorino controls the faceoff, and Roanoke's going to have to find some way to counter him if they're going to get, make another run at North Carolina State here in the fourth quarter coming up. Quick feed into the crease, the ball gets through, and that should be a feed, not a shot. We'll see what they call it. They do call it a feed. 8 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock, and if Roanoke wants to get anything going, they have to throw a long clearing pass to the attack end of the field.
I'll be curious to see if they do, because they may in 1 or 2 seconds. What you don't want to do is make a mistake here and get yourself a cheap goal going into the fourth quarter. 15-8 is the score. North Carolina State ahead.
Give it over to the defenseman, Jim Rohde, and he'll crank it up all the way down the field. Knocked out inside it. Picked off nicely by Senator Ducati. He feeds in, but the feed goes awry, and that's the end of the third quarter. North Carolina State leading Roanoke 15-8. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, Norm, when it comes to switching to natural light, add me to the roster.
Tony Jurgensen, good to see you. Did you switch for the all-natural ingredients?
No, I switched for the taste. Natural light tastes better to me.
You old quarter horse, you lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, look at me. If I'd have been in this shape 5 years ago, I might have even run with the ball.
The moves he could have made.
Yeah, like the old quarterback sneeze.
Yeah. Hey.
Natural light. Taste is why you'll switch.
Top-ranked boxing action continues Thursday when the sensational Richard Sandoval steps into the ring to fight Texan James Phipps. Sandoval, undefeated as a pro, was a gold medalist in the bantamweight division of the Olympic trials in 1980. Junior welterweight Bruce Curry, brother of welterweight contender Don Curry, will face Ronnie Shields in the scheduled 10-rounder. ESPN takes you to Fort Worth, Texas for another hard-hitting card of live top-ranked boxing Thursday.
When the costs of home improvements get out of hand, fight back. Become a handyman. The Family Handyman is the essential magazine that shows you how to save time and money with detailed plans and easy steps to do it yourself, right down to the measurements and the trim. Put a roof over your head, insulate that attic, even add another room. With Family Handyman, you can do it all. Inside, outside, all around. It's the Everything You Need to Know magazine for do-it-yourself homeowners. It shows you how to make ends meet beautifully. The savings begin with 33% off the newsstand price. That's only $9.95 for 10 issues. Here's how to order.
Call now toll-free, 1-800-453-9000 to get the next 10 money-saving issues of the Family Handyman. That number is 1-800-453-9000. Call now, 1-800-453-9000.
Back here at Scott Stadium on the campus of the University of Virginia, it's North Carolina State 15 and Roanoke 8. Bob Smith along with Leif Elsmo. You know, for some 8.5 straight hours, beginning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, on Tuesday, April 28th, ESPN is going to bring you the NFL Draft. Last year, ESPN created television history with comprehensive live coverage of the 1980 NFL Draft. It was a televised first. The 1981 player selection figures to be just as exciting. ESPN will have an anchor position right at the New York Sheraton, as well as additional expert analysis, videotape of the top picks in action, statistics, and live interviews with the new pros from our Bristol, Connecticut studios. Player selections and trade will be seen as they happen. ESPN will also present a special NFL Draft preview on Sunday, April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know you all want to be there to see the NFL Draft on ESPN, and that's Tuesday, April the 28th. Looking now as North Carolina State brings the ball back down on offense. In this, the fourth quarter of what's been a very exciting lacrosse game. Back out front. And North Carolina State slowing the ball down a little bit for the tempo they exhibited in the third quarter, where they seem to be running and gunning from behind the goal with Benny Lehman and John Swerloff. Quick feed inside, a nice shot on a good move by Scott Nelson, and Nelson has been open all day long.
We've got a new goalie. Rob Black is playing for Roanoke, taking out the All-American goalie John Neurohr. And we're going to take a look at this goal as the new goalie Rob Black gets his first taste of action. The ball comes down for North Carolina State, fell on the crease. Nobody's playing Scott Nelson right on the crease. Black had no chance whatsoever to get a good position on. He came about 5 yards up top to try to cut down the angle to no avail. Scott Nelson gets a goal with a little less than a minute gone in the fourth quarter.
What happened on that play was defenseman George Powers got hung up between the man behind the goal and Scott Nelson, and he was neither fish nor foul, and he ended up getting caught right at the pipe and didn't cover anybody. So Nelson came clean for the 16th goal for North Carolina State. Waiting now as John Swerloff tries to keep the ball in play and does so nicely.
Interesting move by Paul Griffin to take his All-American goalie out of the goal for the fourth quarter with a score of 15-7. I don't know if that's throwing in the towel or what, Bob.
Well, I would think that he would have an opportunity at 15-8 to get a few more goals and be right back in this game.
I would too.
Looking back now as Bobby Gettleman brings the ball back out front. Again, picked up by Graham Standish, number 29. And another shot and a score and a beautiful cut by Scott Nelson.
Scott Nelson's having a heck of a day, and he's really working the crease hard. Here his man was playing him pretty tough, but he still got the shot off. And of course, Rob Black's having a tough time getting his feet on the ground. Here he comes. You'll see Scott Nelson right now is cutting across the crease. He picks it up right there, being played tough, but he had time to get a stick on it with a good right-handed shot. Of course, his stick is starting away from his defender, so he gets to catch the ball. Then it comes right across the face of his body to put the ball in the upper left-hand corner. Poor Rob Black has had 2 shots on goal, 2 goals scored. Hasn't had a chance to really get his feet on the ground here in the fourth quarter.
Robbie Black is a freshman, 5'10", 150 pounds from Baltimore, Maryland. Astorino rakes it out. This time it falls down and doesn't get possession. It's picked up neatly in there by Carl Wist. Wist looks inside to Sean Smith. And Smith now, the long feed, an errant pass, an ill-advised pass. You always think short pass rather than long pass when you're on offense. That time, Sean Smith throws the ball away. North Carolina State regains possession.
Stan Morris picked it off on the crease, but you can very rarely pass across the crease. The defensemen with the long sticks are always looking for any ball coming across the crease. They're going to pick it off.
There's Aviles now twirling his stick and flipping it back over to number 36, Victor Rivera. Rivera just standing still, waiting to see what kind of a ride Roanoke's going to use, and they're using a zone ride and an on ride down at the attack end of the field. And Aviles with a long underhanded pass and a really nice pass to Scott Nelson on the far side. Nelson looks back inside, and he's got number 18 just camped on the goal. That's Chris Astorino, and he scores the 18th goal for North Carolina State, and it's turning into a rout at this point. North Carolina State 18, Roanoke 8.
Chris Astorino has an easy goal here. We'll take a look as Nelson comes in. The goalie is positioning himself on the right pipe now. Let's take a look. And there he is, right on the left. Rob Black couldn't make the adjustment coming from all the way from the right side to the left side. He has to slide 6 feet. And of course, that's a tough slide as Chris Astorino gets his first goal of the game. And it is now 18-8 with 12:48 remaining. 3 shots on goal against Rob Black and 3 goals scored here in the fourth quarter.
New goalie now in the nets for North Carolina State. That'll be Tommy Wagner. He's 6'1", 195-pound sophomore from Severna Park, Maryland. Ronnie Aviles with a good day in the nets is given a good, well-deserved rest as Tommy Wagner now will try to turn back the Roanoke Maroon. Back out front now with Bruce Pomper. Pomper is being played very, very well there by number 27, Stan Morris. reserve defensemen as Coach Larry Gross begins to substitute more freely. Ball now back behind to Goldsmith. Paul Goldsmith looking out front, finds a nice cutter, number 17, Rocco Guglielmi, but he misses the pass, and the ball now bouncing around the midfield line. Looks at this point in time that maybe North Carolina State starting to outrun Roanoke a little bit.
Roanoke, I think, dropped their heads a little bit. They came out in the fourth quarter with Rob Black getting in the goal, and of course, when you shoot 3 times and score 3 times, and you're already down 15-8, it's a little tough to keep your heads up and keep the same intensity that you've had through the whole game.
Young man there with very little intensity. He's sort of hanging out.
He's enjoying the day
Getting
like
some of
everybody
the late
else.
afternoon sun.
Great day for lacrosse here in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Waiting now for the defenseman to put the ball in play for North Carolina State. And we'll see if Tommy Wagner handles the ball any better than Ronnie Aviles, and he throws the ball right into the attackman's stick, Sean Smith.
Smith made a nice aggressive move. They're running a little bit of a press ride, and he went right at the goalie. Here are the stats for the third quarter, or through the third quarter. Score 15-8. Shots, you can see, are pretty even. Saves are pretty even. And face-offs are to NC State's advantage.
That time a defenseman just rolled down, number 19 for Roanoke, Matt Sutphin, picked up the errant pass from the goalie and scored an easy goal for Roanoke's 9th tally.
There's Matt Sutphin. You saw the tail end of it right there. Just came down and pumped it right in. Roanoke gets their 9th goal of the game. Maybe that'll pump a little life into him and get him charged up here for the last 11 minutes and 45 seconds.
If you're Coach Paul Griffin and you get 4 or 5 more goals quickly and it's now an 18-14 game, do you put your starting goalie back in?
I'd be tempted. He didn't play a bad game. He had impossible situations throughout the whole game.
But now as the ball is being kicked back towards the North Carolina State goal, Sean Smith pursuing. And Wagner seems to have the same kind of luck clearing the ball as Aviles had, and that's no luck.
Let's give Aviles a little bit of credit. You know, right before he came out of the game, he started the last goal by casting that. Remember that? He threw an underhand pass, just whipped that thing all the way down to the far corner of the goal, or the field, to start that last fast break in which Nelson fed across the crease.
Jimmy Fitzpatrick gives it off quickly to Benazzi. Benazzi had a couple of nice goals early in the game. Now back over to Fitzpatrick as Roanoke sets a nice screen in front of the goal. They have a 2-2-2, and they want to fire off that screen. A shot coming in, but not much on it, even with the screen. And Wagner controls momentarily. We'll see the call. It's going to be a 1-minute slashing call against number 13. That's Mark DiStefano from Webster, New York. He's called for slashing, and Roanoke will have an extra man opportunity.
Fitzpatrick had a good move coming in there. He's a midfielder, a sophomore, 5'7", 150 pounds, from Brentwood, New York. But again, he shot on the AstroTurf. You can't shoot 5 yards in front of the goal and expect to get it anywhere near the goal or to expect to get any speed on it. He came overhead, bounced it. It was an easy catch for the NC State goalie, Tom Wagner.
11 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Roanoke trailing North Carolina State 18-9. Have the extra man opportunity right now. Ball back behind to Seta Ducati. He looks back out front. A long lob pass quickly, and a shot taken by number 21, and that's Stu Kromidas. The ball kicked out and rolls out of bounds. The rule still applies, though. The young man closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, regardless of where it is on the field, his team gains possession, and that happens to be the defenseman down here, Jim Rohde. So Roanoke will get possession.
Roanoke retains the Stan Morris from North Carolina State. Here's Larry Gross calling out instructions for his team. He wants to ride this ball to keep it on his half of the field. He doesn't want it to get it back up for Roanoke to have an extra man situation.
Robbie Black with his first clearing situation. Brings the ball up nicely as the clearing pass at 2-on-1 right here on the near sideline. And Stu Kromidas gets it across the midfield line very easily. Penalty still in effect. Roanoke still extra. Kromidas gives it off on the side. They're trying to work a play on a cut down front. Look back inside. Tommy Ritter cut through, didn't get the ball. Sean Smith moves off a pick. He doesn't get the ball as Roanoke keeps the ball back out front. Now, quick feed inside as Smith was hammered from behind, or you see if that was Smith or was Tommy Ritter, was nailed from behind. It'll be a push call, technical foul, and North Carolina State will be down 2 men for at least some portion of a minute.
John Rousnaval came across 26. The feed was to the crease, and this is where you really have to have a lot of checking going on. Now here the feed goes to the crease. Rousnaval comes across to try to stop that shot, and he followed through a little bit too much with the body. It was from behind. The crease man may have turned into it, but the referee saw it otherwise. There are 2 men down, North Carolina State, with Roanoke with the 2-man advantage for at least, as you said, a short period of time.
And now the ball back out to Paul Goldsmith. What will happen is North Carolina State will probably just play a box with the 4 men they have, and the pass knocked down almost, picked up by Kromidas. He fires over top of the goal.
Kromidas with a great shot.
from out in front. This is where you have to be patient. Roanoke should get a good shot off. They had the extra man situation. You want to work for the overload. Cremitas was about 8 yards off to the right of the goalie, and he cranked it up with a high shot.
What the attackman behind needs to do is force to the pipe because he knows the defense was not going to play him too tough, and they feed right back out front. Exactly what they did. Sean Smith fires wide of the goal, or that was, I guess, instead of Ducati fires wide of the goal. But he's got to draw that defenseman to him from behind the goal and then dish it off to the side. And that's what they tried to do that time, but the shot was errant as Roanoke remains extra. Still extra, we see now, only one man.
One man, but what you have to do, you're right, Bob, is to pass the ball around. You have to get ball movement to make the defense move, and then finally you get the 2-on-1 situation, and you get a good shot unobstructed.
That time the pass was knocked down, and North Carolina State's going to go back on offense. Momentarily, I said, the ball is dropped and picked up by Paul Goldsmith. Goldsmith has it checked away. A lot of good hitting going in and around the crease area, and the quick outlet pass very nicely handled by Tommy Wagner, and North Carolina State's rolling back down on offense again.
Walter Hahn with a great wrap check to start this whole transition going.
Honorado walks in and fires, and a nice save in there by Robbie Black. Black was all the way out of the crease area and took away most of the angle Benny Honorado had.
That's got to make him feel better. That's his first save of the game, I believe.
Defensive midfield in now for Roanoke College, number 18, Doug McKenzie, number 19, Matt Sutphin, and number 23, Jim Hetherington. We have the save coming up here again.
Here's the save with Rob Black. They're coming in. It's almost a point-blank shot. Again, the defense runs past the man. North Carolina State comes in. He has all the time he wants to wind up, takes a shot. Look how far he came out of the goal. Rob Black came way out of the goal to cut down that angle and make a beautiful save.
Johnny Swerdlow looking inside, trying to get the ball back into number 22, and that's Walter Hine. The ball goes beyond Hine, but still controlled by North Carolina State. Benny Honorado's going to get another chance to see if he can crank one by Black. Looks back inside, doesn't see anybody to feed it to. He says, I'll shoot it, and he does, wide of the goal to the right-hand side. And that ball was ridden out nicely by Robbie Black.
It's kind of interesting that Paul Griffin is electing to use the long sticks now because it seems to me that he would want to have a midfield in there that could really get the ball going up to score some goals for him.
Johnny Swerdlow dancing inside, and a nice shot. We're going to see if they call it a goal or not. Swerdlow was in the crease prior to the shot, breaking the plane of the goal. Therefore, there's no goal. The ball goes over to Roanoke.
Let's take a look at Swerdlow coming around. A tremendous athlete. He's driving the goal with George Powers against him. George Powers is playing tough. Inside roll, Swerdlow. You see him dance on the line. There, his toes hit the line. He made a great lunge and put the ball in the net. A fantastic shot for a great goal, but unfortunately he was 4 inches too far into that crease, which made it an infraction. The goal does not count, and Roanoke gets possession of the ball.
Waiting now for the ball to be put back in play. It'll be given to the defenseman on the far side, near side of the field, George Powers. With 8:46 remaining in this game, North Carolina State 18, Roanoke College 9. Powers now looking for some help on the near sideline, doesn't have it, and they'll reload. Roanoke College trying to clear against a zone ride by North Carolina State, and we see colleges almost all using zone rides today, and that's how you break a zone ride, with a quick feed inside. Sean Smith fires, and a nice save picked off, nice save by Tommy Wagner as he picked the ball off right at the edge of the crease. He looks for a quick outlet and finds it with little Honorado. Honorado's on his way up the field.
It was a tremendous save.
Getting back to the zone ride a minute, the way you beat the zone ride, of course, is to have men split the zone and make good passes. And there's a shot by Honorado. He had a great save made on him by Robbie Black before, but that goal gets by Black, and North Carolina State now leads Roanoke 19-9 with 8 minutes remaining in the game.
Ben Honorado came right in. He had 2 or 3 men on him, but he didn't. He wasn't dissuaded. Watch him. He's 5'6", 150 pounds. He's a junior. Watch him come in here, and he gets double or even triple team. Watch Roanoke converge on him. There's 3 of them on him. He takes a shot anyway, a good bounce shot. Right in past the goalie, who is out pretty far. Robbie Black came out again about 5 or 6 yards trying to cut that angle, but this shot by Ben Honorado was right on the mark.
Benny Honorado comes into today's game with 3 goals. That'll be his 4th for the season. Once again, North Carolina State controlling the faceoff in the person of Chris Astorino. Astorino using the nice bounce pass to get it over to Chuck Murr, and Murr then sees the ball, gets back behind to the attack in the person of Ben Lehman.
Slowing it down now, looking for a controlled offense and looking for a good patterned offense for a good shot.
We have a nice screen set up in front of the goal with Scotty Nelson